It's time for Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. For the next 3 hours, it's high school basketball from across the Mountain State. Live from Marshall University, here's your host, Ryan Epling.
And good evening and welcome to another Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Nice cold night throughout the state, but that means a good night for rivalries to heat up. We're in the first full weekend now of the 2015 calendar year for high school basketball. Of course, last weekend we had a lot of tournament games, a lot of tournament classics, but today we're into full Friday night mode. 82 games, is that correct,
82?
James? 82 games across the state of West Virginia being played tonight. Coach Rick Marone of the Tulsa Lady Rebels with us, James Collier with us. I'm Ryan Epling. Thanks for joining us and welcome into the program. As you can tell, we're bundled up. It's about 26 degrees outside and about 27 degrees in here.
I was going to say 27. That's awfully.
Which is about 26 degrees warmer than it was yesterday.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, it's kind of unique too that one year ago last year, remember we had the water crisis, and that's something to kind of look back on. And a lot of people talking about that. So many things that we went through last year. We had the water crisis, then we had the ice storm, then we had the snowstorm. We had some cold temperatures earlier this week, forced a lot of cancellations, but I guess good for high school athletics in a whole. We don't have them on Friday night. A full collection of games. A lot of teams needing those because it's been almost a week since a lot of teams have had an opportunity to hit the hardwood.
Yesterday morning in Huntington, it was a degree.
Yeah, a single degree.
Yes.
Singular.
Definitely a cold morning yesterday, but still. So several games were postponed, and we do the best we can at basketballnight.com to get all the games in there. A lot of times these makeup games are sometimes hard to keep up with, but we thank you. We rely on you, our listeners, and those who follow us at @hoops_roundup. Definitely appreciate all the work you do. If you're looking at us online right now, you see we have our first jersey coming in by way of Spring Valley High School, representing here on Basketball Friday Night. And if you want to give us a jersey, just send it to us. James, you've got more particular information on how to get it to us here in our
the easiest
network control.
Yeah, the easiest thing to do is to contact us via Twitter, and then we can arrange to either, if it's close, if you're nearby, we can pick it up. You can drop it off here at Marshall, or we can get you the mailing address to send that to us. But by all means, any type of swag, whether it's old trophies, jerseys, T-shirts, anything, we want to add it to the set. But certainly appreciate Spring Valley for getting the first over to us to get things started here in 2015.
Normally at the top of the show, we get a full scoreboard to start with, but we're going to hold off on that right now because it was Rivalry Friday, and there are still some rivalry games going on. Some of the games include Martinsburg and Hedgesville going at it. Poca and Chapmanville Regional, well, I wouldn't necessarily say they were rivals, but in the Cardinal Conference, they're rivals.
And that game was playing like a rivalry game this evening, without a doubt.
Certainly was. And what I think may be the best rivalry in all of West Virginia takes place in Wyoming County. And in Clear Fork tonight, West Side, the boys in the Renegades beat Wyoming East 70-53. The final score there. Michael Knotts and John West of KISS FM in Wyoming County had that ball game. Guys, welcome to the program. And I know it was another full arena there tonight in Clear Fork for this ball game.
The place was packed as usual, and we always have some sayings. If you're going to steal something in Wyoming County, do it now, because all the state troopers were here and everybody in Wyoming County was here.
Well, guys, West Side able to run away from Wyoming East in that ball game tonight. Maybe not a big surprise this particular year in this rivalry. West Side seems to be the more experienced team. Wyoming East kind of a younger team feeling its way through.
Yeah, exactly. You've got Justin Koger, who actually in football did really, really excellent, and then trying to get their basketball legs coming in there, because most of these guys, were able to make it to the playoffs and go pretty far. But they've been able to maintain coming into this season. And really about tonight, I guess if you want to focus in on the key point, it was that first quarter against Wyoming East, scoring 29 points in the first quarter for the Renegades.
Well, it was after that the Warriors kind of stepped it up, and they played very well the last three quarters, but they jumped out with that 29-point lead, and the Warriors just could not come back from it. And it was just, like we said, really quickly, these guys, this is one of the fastest teams that I've seen Nick Cook have here at Westside, and I'm telling you what, these guys were all over the floor tonight.
They were talking about the reports from the Westside fans saying, we want Gabby, talking about Gabby Lapardis from the Wyoming East girls team, but we told them, said, be careful what you ask for. She was nearly at a quadruple-double last night, but it definitely sounded like it was a great game from the fans' point of view as well.
Well, absolutely. I had that game on the radio last night, and I want to tell you what, just as big as this crowd was here tonight for the boys, it was that way in New Richmond the other night because last night, because there was both sides were packed out. It was a playoff atmosphere, and Wyoming East come out, and basically, to be truthful with you, Wyoming East had something they wanted to prove. They wanted to prove that they could go out there and dominate. They've already got one win against Summers County, and then Gabby Lapardis, and I want to mention another girl that don't get a lot of when they mention Gabby Lapardis, Kara Sandy came out, and she's another freshman for the Warriors. She just laid it on shooting threes, and I'm telling you, she was really good. And the play of two really good sophomores they have, Megan Davis and Haley Butcher, and then you've got to throw Bree Pertee in the mix, who scored her 1,000th point last night. She is the senior on that team, and scored her 1,000th point last night. So it was a great night for the Lady Warriors. But then turntables tonight. Not such a great night for the Warriors here tonight because Westside just came out and they dominated from the first whistle all the way to the end. And it was just a great night in Wyoming County.
Guys, these two schools have existed now for long enough for the rivalry to really, really take hold. Sometimes when you have consolidations, and of course this was going from 4 schools that were all rivals with each other down into 2 schools that are now rivals with each other in Wyoming County, you can kind of lose it. If anything, I think this rivalry's taken off. Westside and Wyoming East, to me, is as good as it gets.
Well, absolutely. And I tell you what, I was talking at the starting of the broadcast, and I mentioned this. The only thing I compare this rivalry to is a couple of years ago I got a chance to go down to Chapel Hill and be there when Duke came to town. And that place is just unbelievable, and that's the way it was here tonight. This gym was absolutely packed. They were 4 people deep from the door all the way to the baseline in this gym. There was people all the way around the floor, and I'm telling you what, this gym was rocking. It was a place to be, and I'll be truthful with you, as you said, there is no other atmosphere like Wyoming County basketball.
I think whatever side of the county you're on, you have to enjoy that. Guys, thanks for calling. Thanks for joining us, and look forward to hearing from you again throughout the season. Westside, a really good team, and Wyoming East, hey, you never count out the Warriors.
Yes, that's right.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that was Michael Knotts and John West of KISS FM. They had the call of Westside's win over Wyoming East. We're going to go right back to the phone lines. As again, I'm telling you, we had a lot of games going on tonight, and we've been following them as best we could. And back to the phone lines to Chad Richards of WSPW in Parkersburg. And Chad, tell me about your ball game tonight.
Well, as you know, Parkersburg South Lady Patriots took on John Marshall tonight. They won 80-34, but I do have a recap of a game that happened earlier this week. Parkersburg South taking on Fort Fry.
Go right ahead. Fort Fry's a very good ball club. I had a chance to see them play in Huntington last year, actually.
Absolutely. They're a very good ball club. They're definitely known for a basketball school. Going into that, they were number 1 in Division 3A. They were number 1 in Division 3A in the MSAC. Oh, correction, that's the OVAC. They're in the OVAC. And were undefeated before the Lady Patriots took them down. Top scorers in the game were number 4, Taryn McCutcheon, who had 20 points. And also of note, this was the last game that Kia Bartlett was out on an injury. She injured herself early in the season, but I believe she was out there tonight to play against John Marshall.
So that's getting a getting healthy for Parkersburg South's kind of been the name of the game early on here. And you talked about that win over Fort Fry. Parkersburg South this year, again, injuries have been a factor, but a loss to South Charleston earlier this year, I think, opened some eyes. And I think really some people are seeing them maybe being a little more vulnerable, but getting Kia Bartlett back really kind of makes that team a little more complete.
Yeah, definitely. Bartlett is going to be a welcome addition back into the Lady Patriots. And also, talk about McCutcheon a bit. McCutcheon is definitely a well-rounded player. She can play offense, she can play defense, she can do a really good job at both. That's the kind of player that they're looking for on South. Well-rounded.
Well, Chad Richards, WSP. Go ahead.
I would put McCutcheon up there with Bartlett as two of the top players on the South team.
Yeah, that's an excellent ball club and a team that has a chance to get back to Charleston, and a team that won it 2 years ago, lost in the championship game to Morgantown last year, and a lot of players who played in both of those games are still back and still in Lady Patriot uniforms. So it should be another good season. Chad Richards, WSPW, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, you have a good evening. And right now we're going to stay here for just a second. All right, another game that was a rivalry tonight. We'll get to a full scoreboard. I promise you at 9:15. We'll lead with that at 9:15. But right now, Joe Kinzer, WXCC, he had the call of Mingo Central and Scott tonight. Big ball game and a nice win tonight for Mingo Central. They get the win 54-48. Joe, I know this rivalry amped up a little bit with the shooting shirts that Scott broke out last week.
That broke out on social media. Of course, Scott means more than had Mingo Central school logo, and then calls were local, and the capital C with Chatfield's logo, the L, capital L with Logan's logo, and tonight their fan base wore that, their players wore it, and also they came out to the song "My Town" by Montgomery Gentry. So taking a little bit of a friendly shot, and when I was doing the pregame interview with Nick Cavill, Nick and I are real good friends. Like with the other coaches, I have a good relationship. And I said, Nick, you began Shirtgate. Let's explain a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about that. And Joe, you're the first broadcaster ever to bring it up. And I said, well, we can't ignore it. But stop poking a little bit of fun. But this is a rivalry game. Mingo Central, they snapped a 3-game losing streak to the Scott Skyhawks, and again, 7 games played in the series. Scott leads the series 4 games to 3, and only 24 points separation in the 7 games played between these two schools. Scott came out of blazing in the first quarter. They owned a 15-11 lead. Patrick Underwood scored 7 of his 17 points in the first quarter. Logan Webb, a senior, scored 6 of his game's 10 points in that first quarter. And then Keyshawn Rose with Mingo Central trailing at 27-24 at the buzzer at the end of the first half, hits a wide-open 3. Patrick scored 27-20. Both teams kind of went into a little bit of a lull. Mingo Central only shot 35% from the floor in this game, with Mingo Central down by 3 towards the tail end of the third quarter. Junior guard Dalton Hatfield, back-to-back baskets, ignited an 8-0 Mingo Central run. Also, you had a layup by Stevie Hammond and Mally May, and then really turnovers really haunted Scott down the stretch. 24 turnovers tonight as Mingo Central went to 54-48. Balanced scoring both sides. Kembe Dixon was 16. Dalton Hatfield had 13. Montreal Dixon had 12. Leading the way for Scott was Patrick Underwood with 17. Eric May with 12. But, folks, Mally May, the senior guard, tore his ACL, a complete tear, prior to the first game of the season. He practiced for the first time since that injury yesterday, came out tonight. He has a special brace. And I mean, I've covered, on the college game, some guys that had torn ACLs before, but you can tell he's limited, but he really gave it his all. And his leadership, his presence on the floor, and also breaking up a 2-on-1 fast break for Scott, getting back on defense in the fourth quarter, really helped lift this Mingo Central team here tonight.
Nice win for Mingo Central. Nice sectional win over Scott, and the Mingo Central Miners get that win. And, Joe, this is a ball club with Mingo Central now. Kind of been a little up and down. They had a tough time with Wayne earlier this week, And I guess that was maybe back last Saturday. I kind of lose track of things real fast, but still able to come back tonight and play much better and be more impressive against Scott. Is this a team right now that maybe is playing to the level of its competition at the moment, or are you seeing them start to get better?
Well, kids do that nowadays, Brian. You know, that's a great observation. But I talked to Coach Brad Napier. He said they came out flat against Wayne the Wickline kid at 44 points. And I think that might be a record in the Mingo Central Gymnasium. But when you come out against Scott, when you come out next week against Chapmanville, you're going to come out and fired up. But what has really helped Mingo Central, they have faced a lot of adversity this year. Mally May, one of the leaders, tearing his ACL. We don't know how much he's going to play this year, but he played tonight. Stevie Hammond, after football, came out for basketball after 2 practices, said, hey, I kind of want to work on my game. Well, he came back. He had to give his practices in. Let me throw this stat at you. Since Stevie Hammond has came back on the team, he is averaging 8 assists a game. This also the 5th guy that's really cracked the starting position for Mingo Central, sophomore guard Keyshawn Rose. He's averaging 5 assists per ball game. So with Stevie Hammond now back on this team, it's kind of helped settling Mingo Central's offense down. And now those 2 guys are able to distribute the basketball to the Dixons in Dalton Hatfield.
Well, that's 7th win of the season for Mingo Central. And don't have time to celebrate too much. Right back in action tomorrow night at home against Sissonville. Joe Kinzer, thanks for calling.
Hey, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, take care, Joe. Right now, we're going to step aside and take a break. Wow, quick first segment there. We'll come back, have a full scoreboard, and we'll talk with Dave Williamson, head coach of the Chapmanville Regional Girls Basketball Team, and we come back on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them, visit us at basketballnight.com. We've got all your scores. There's a lot of places that you can listen or watch Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. We're going to talk about a few of those places, but you can always go to basketballnight.com and click on affiliates. That tells you all the places that are carrying Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. You can also go to the website and listen live. Just click Listen Live. You can listen to our stream, or you can view our video online. Other places and people we want to thank: 97.9 FM, WSPW LP in Parkersburg, 91.9 FM, WPHP in Wheeling, 106.7 FM, WHFI Linside, 101.9 FM, WVOW Logan, 90.7 FM, WFGH Fort Gay, 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM, WQAZ LP Edmond and Beckley, 101.7 FM, WYAP LP Clay, 88.1 FM, WMUL Huntington. Those are the places you can listen on the radio. If you've got cable, you can go to Armstrong Cable, Digital Channel 204, Comcast Channel 25. Online audio, go to basketballnight.com. Online video, basketballnight.com or rsnsports.com. Those are all the places you can find Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Join us online. Follow us on Twitter.
Celebrating high school basketball around the Mountain State, you're listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, James Collier, Coach Rick Marone, and Ryan Epling.
9:18 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Well, we hit the ground running right there, didn't we, guys?
Kind of like last week.
Kind of like Rivalry Friday, man. Brings it out, telling you. Big games all across the state of West Virginia tonight. No, we didn't even get to. Hi, Coach Marone. Welcome
Good
to the show.
evening. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you showed up. I
Hey,
mean,
I'm
we
here.
were like 5 seconds for giving you a delay of game penalty.
Well, I came diving in, and I think I got rung up over here on the side of the stage. I
Oh,
mean, I
don't-
knew it was getting desperate when you had an official waiting.
Hey,
on me.
don't give it away now.
Yeah, we've got a surprise that we're holding on for later in the show. And if you're watching us on basketballnight.com, you see that our jersey collection has grown as Coach Marone bringing a Tulsa jersey in with him. So Wayne County well represented right now. And
Maybe that's a little bit of a shots fired to the rest of the state of West Virginia. We need some swag to represent. So
yeah, again, if you want to get a hold of us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup, and we will set it up and figure out how to get your jersey here for display. And of course, I mean, I have to mention it. I'm a Wayne grad, so there's Tulsa, Wayne, Spring Valley. We're all here. Anyway, all right, James Collier. People want to know scores. They don't care where I'm from. They want to know what the scores are. And on this rivalry Friday night on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, you got to check out the basketballnight.com scoreboard.
looking for scores, look no more. Go to basketballnight.com/scoreboard for all your scores from around the Mountain State. Let's start on the boys' side in Class AAA. Why not? Let's start in an overtime game. Number 7 in Class AAA, Wheeling Park, needs extra time to get past the Bruins of Brooks. 70-63, a final. The Patriots survive. It was Buchanan Upshur over Liberty Harrison, 66-43. End of 3, Martinsburg leading Hedgesville in a rivalry matchup, 36-32. I'm sure we'll have some Wizard of Cause to fill us in about that game later on in the show. Sissonville by 1 over the Liberty County Panthers. Or check that, the Lincoln County Panthers, 58-57. And the Musselman Appleman over the Washington Patriots, 60-53. In Class AA, the Polka Dots. Number 1 in Class AA survives a scare over the Chapmanville Tigers in a low-scoring affair, 43-33. Hearing media members saying high school basketball needed a shot clock in this one. We'll talk with Luke Frampton from the Polka Dots later on this evening around 11:30. Number 4, West Side over Wyoming East, 70-53. It was number 7, Mingo Central, going into the garage at Scott in a matchup of number 7 and number 5 and coming away with a win, 54-48. Another game just going final in overtime. Frankfort gets past Berkeley Springs, 73-72. And the Tornadoes of Kaiser over the Petersburg Vikings, 61-45. In Class Single A, number 1, Wheeling Central, no problem with the Lindsay Cadets, 46-29. It was 18-0 after one quarter of play. Number 2, Magnolia over Payton City, 75-55, back-to-back. These two teams have played at Bishop Donahue last night. Number 3, Greater Beckley Christian leads Tug Valley 32-31. That game at the half. Number 5, Tucker County trails number 9, Notre Dame 34-43 at the end of the third quarter. Richwood over the Fayetteville Pirates 66-57. Midland Trail defeats Meadow Bridge 62-58. Williamstown eases past Parkersburg Catholic 69-40. Over on the girls' side, starting first in Class AAA. Number 2 in both the AP and the coaches poll, the South Charleston Black Eagles get past Capital 53-42. Number 3, Park South, no problem with John Marshall, 80-34 is the final. Number 3, Huntington over Ripley, 74-48. Cabell Midland needed overtime to get past Princeton, but comes away victorious, 56-54 in Princeton. George Washington, no problem with the Wildcats of Nitro, 60-32 your final. In Class AA, number 1, Fairmont Senior, a blowout win over the Elkins Tigers, 67-38. Number 2, North Marion over Philip Barber, 87-46. Number 4, Summers County, a big win over James Monroe, 77-65. At the half, number 5, Sissonville leads the Scott Skyhawks, 37-18. Number 6, Kaiser over Northern Garrett out of Maryland, 72-33. Lincoln over East Fairmont, 59-39. In Class Single A, number 3, Tucker County defeats number 9, Notre Dame, 59-31. An upset in Class Single A as unranked Webster County knocks off number 8, Gilmer County, 67-63. It was East Hardy over Tygarts Valley, 54-42. Tug Valley defeats Greater Beckley Christian 50-39. West Green out of Pennsylvania falls to the 100 Hornets 53-46. And at the half, St. Mary's leads Tyler Consolidated 29-23. That's a check of your basketballnight.com scoreboard update.
Thank you very much for that, James Collier. Let's go right back to the phones. We've got Dave Williamson. He's the head coach of the Chapmanville Regional Girls Basketball Squad. That team is 6-3 after picking up a win over Wayne earlier this week. And, Coach, welcome to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Got a busy night tonight, huh?
Hey, just jumping right in, right here at 9 o'clock, 9 to midnight, and we're going to go nonstop for 3 hours. But
I hear that.
Hey, we love this time of year, right? This is what it's all about.
I did. Hey, January, we always said you get through January and looking for February, so.
Yeah, the postseason gets here before you know it. But let's talk a little bit about this Chapmanville Ball Club. Your team getting a win, 44-31 over Wayne last night, and earlier this week lost to Sissonville 68-46. That's a very good Sissonville team. Just tell me about where your team is right now compared to where maybe you thought it would be at this point in the season.
Through 9 games, like I said, 6-3. We ran into a buzzsaw the other night at Sissonville. My 6 years coaching, we've only won 1 game down there at that gym. My other losses to Logan, ranked AAA, and the Summers County Bobcats at their place. So, our 3 losses, nothing to be ashamed of. We're young. We have in our top 8, we have 3 sophomores and a freshman, 2 juniors and 2 seniors. So, half our 8 in our rotation are real younger classmen. So, but we'll take it through 9 games.
And looking back through your schedule, one team that you've played twice now is Wayne, and you won the first game 51-47 at Wayne. That was the season opener all the way back on December 2nd. A game that your team trailed most of that game and then was able to come back and get that win late. But then turn around, go back one day now, yesterday against Wayne. You beat them by 13, and you kind of had control of that game throughout most of the contest. Your team improving, is that a sign of improvement, or was that just the way that game played out?
Just kind of the way it played out. Well, I hope we're improving anyway. But I think we kind of took Wayne for granted. Nothing against Wayne, but they've kind of been the cellar dwellers of the Cardinal Conference. But Coach Williamson, their new coach down there, is doing a great job with them. And I think the first game of the year, I tried to talk to the girls, but no matter what, I think they kind of took them for granted. And then last night we came ready to play. So, but that's a really improved Wayne team.
Coach Marone here. Thanks for coming on. And Coach, you've done a real good job out of conference. I know the Cardinal Conference, I can tell you firsthand, is tough from top to bottom, in my opinion. But you go out of conference, you take on teams like Logan. You traveled to the Summers County tournament, and you've been really willing to kind of have team will travel. You've went to a lot of different places. Do you feel like that's something that toughens you up or gets you ready as you get ready for tournament play?
Well, I hope it will toughen us up. It'd be nice to get one of those wins because conference tough teams, getting beat by them. Hopefully we learn some things. But like we go to Logan tomorrow night, that playing in the Cole Classic. See, that was scheduled for January 30th, but North Marion canceled on Kevin and the Wildcats because of the weather. And he called us, and that's when we changed. I said, sure. We're just 10 miles down the road, so we play them again tomorrow night. And like I said, we went to Summers County. We're kind of one of those teams, take on all comers right now, win or lose, and we feel like it's good for us.
Cardinal Conference has been pretty good the past several years. I mean, obviously Scott has been a state title contender over that span. Sissonville made it to the state finals last year. You don't come out of that region without at least being tested.
No, you're right. We've said for years, now I wouldn't say it this year, but, the sectional with, Coach Marone there, the master, and Scott and us, we figured, one of the toughest in AA. Of course, this year you have the Summers County and West Side and Wyoming East. I mean, that's absolutely brutal down there. But like I said, the Cardinal Conference, we do feel like we're battle tested. You see a good mix in the Cardinal Conference. You have some teams that play zone, you got teams that press, you got teams that play straight man. So you kind of see it all through the season in the Cardinal Conference.
Dave Williamson, head coach of the Chapmanville Regional Tigers again. The girls basketball team, you'll be playing tomorrow against Logan, a game that's probably not on a lot of schedules right now.
No, that's exactly right. It's kind of, we had to move the date. I did Kevin a favor, and like I said, we're close, and just moving from January 30th to tomorrow, and get the Wildcats out of the way, and look for the rest of the conference season, and hopefully make a run the sectional tournament to the regionals. Then you get to the regional, that's all you can ask for, one win away from Charleston.
Absolutely. Coach Williamson, best of luck.
Hey, thanks, guys.
All right, that's Dave Williamson, head coach of the Chapmanville Regional Tigers. Of course, we look forward to maybe hearing from him later on throughout the season as well. Right now, we've got to step aside and take a break. When we come back, we're going to hear from Brian Johnson. He was at the Ripley-Huntington girls game. And we've also got Logan head coach Mark Hatcher. The Logan boys off to a pretty good start this year. We're going to talk with him in just a few moments as well as basketball Friday night in West Virginia rolls on here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Last week we had 1,084 followers on Twitter. Now we're at 1,149. Our goal was to break 1,100. Now we want to break 1,200. Join us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup. At @hoops_roundup. Send in your scores. Give us a tweet and become part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family. A shout out to some of our new followers. Moorfield Basketball, Ferrari Mom, Ann Liniger, Curtis Edward, Trapper, Athlete Motivation, Joe Wallace, Robin Edwards, Pablo Piera, Marilyn Monroe, Noah Sparks, Breeper T, Ricky, Jessica, Kelsey, Josh McLeod, Adams 114, and Scott Leonhardt. Join us on Twitter tonight, and all the new followers will mention you on the air and on the show. Once again, follow us at @hoops_roundup. At @hoops_roundup. Send in your scores, give us a tweet, and become part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family. If you love basketball, then there's only one place to be. It's Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Once again, follow us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup. At @hoops_roundup. Check us out online for all the scores. Visit basketballnight.com. We want you to become part of our family and vote in our poll tonight. Go online and check out our poll. Is the competition in Class AA boys this season better than Class AAA? Once again, basketballnight.com. You've got till 11:45 tonight to vote.
This is high school basketball's home for the Mountain State. Basketball Friday night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to basketball night in West Virginia with James Collier, Coach Rick Marone, and Ryan Epling.
9:32 on this basketball Friday night in West Virginia as we roll on here on Rivalry Friday. That's an unofficial title, but there were enough rivalry games tonight that I think it definitely earned that title. Now, the game we're going to talk about right now is a game that probably wouldn't be considered a rival just because of the distance factor. Huntington and Ripley, an MSAC rivalry. On the girls' side, they played tonight. Brian Johnson, WCEF in Ripley had the call, and Huntington's girls get the win. Final score of 74-48, and Brian, Huntington able to get the win.
Well, a great basketball team, guys. As you well know, they just have athletes and basketball players from one end of the bench to the other. No matter who they put in there, just seem to pick up the slack. And they were led tonight by Deja Congleton with 27 points, 8 steals, and 8 rebounds. Just she was a force to be reckoned with tonight. And the Vikings, they hung around pretty well. They were down 13 at the half. I believe it was 39-26. And 21-13 fourth quarter, and Huntington was just able to pull away from them. But some good contributions from the Vikings. They were missing one of their senior leaders tonight in Jay Donahue. she wasn't in the gym tonight. I'm not sure if she was under the weather, what the situation was, but Audra Thomas tonight had 20 points and 13 rebounds as junior, and then the freshman phenom for the Vikings, I think you're going to hear a lot about over the next few years, Maggie Chrysler. She had 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists. So, there were some good points in that ball game for the Vikings, but just too much Huntington and a really young Viking team that started a couple of freshmen, a couple of sophomores, and a junior tonight. Just no match down the stretch for the Highlanders.
Well, I know that you were at the boys' game last night between these two, correct?
I was. I feel like I've done 2 or 3 games a night this week. Viking boys played Tuesday night. They knocked off the Cabell Midland Knights by 21, I believe. And then last night, the Viking boys played toe-to-toe with Huntington. It was a 47-47 game with a little under 3 minutes to go. And the Vikings, again, not to be a broken record, but a young group of Vikings really kind of fumbled down the stretch. And, again, a athletic, sharp-shooting Huntington High boys team was able to pull away. But the final score not really indicative of as close as that game was from time to time. So I think the Viking boys walk away from that game feeling a little confident. I'm not a big moral victory guy, but I think they proved themselves that they can play toe-to-toe with some of the best teams in the state.
They're now 4-3 on this season, and they turn right around and play tomorrow. So, right back at it.
Yeah, doesn't get any easier either. The defending state champion on Thursday night, and the state runner-up on Saturday night in the Hurricane Redskins. So they will have their work cut out for them. The good news for them, it will be at Ripley, and I think the young team is kind of starting to gel a little bit and maybe starting to find their way. Chase Johnson has really been a superstar for them, along with Luke Leahy and Jameson Hunt. We call them the Big Three. That's kind of the in vogue thing to say now, but that's been the three-headed monster for the Vikings, and they've led the way.
Well, it should be a good ball game tomorrow as well. Brian, thanks for calling.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, that's Brian Johnson, WCEF. Moving right along, we've got Mark Hatcher, the head coach of the Logan boys basketball team. And Coach Hatcher, welcome to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
I hope you're having a good post-holiday time right now. And your ball club, 4-1 on the season, just suffered its first setback of the year earlier this week to a very good West Side team. And actually, I have to go back. That was last Saturday now already. But,
yeah.
Coach, your ball club still, though, off to a good start this year.
Yeah, we are. We're off to a pretty good start this year. I got a great group of kids and pretty deep. And we're still a young team. We're pretty much guard-oriented. And, we've just really played well. We've tried to find what they've been calling us the cardiac cats lately. We've won a lot of games here late at the end of the game. We were down by 6 to, I think, Nitro, at Nitro. We were down to Winfield late in the game. We were down to Brook late in the game, and just found ways to get a couple of points on there and make a few stops and pull out some wins. And we're sort of doing it every different way. I mean, one game we'll make a bunch of threes. The next game we'll cause a bunch of turnovers and steals. And the other game we seem to make a couple of hustle plays. And then one game this year we went 24 for 26 from the foul line. So that pretty much won that game. And, the other night we just ran into a buzzsaw. West Side is just a very good team. I mean, they walk out there. They don't look like a typical top 4 or 5 team in their uniforms and warm-ups, but the guys down the southern west part of the state, we all know those boys can play. They have passionate fans, great players, and 2 legit first-team All-State kids in Justin Coger and Will Fox, and it was just really hard to stop them the other night, and they made a couple more plays than we did and got the win.
Well, you talked about the cardiac cats, and that was exactly what I was going to talk about because you had a 2-point win over Brook, then a 1-point win over Nitro, and a 2-point win over Winfield in a 4-day span.
Yeah, it's a good schedule.
That's
That's tough. I mean, we went on the road to Nitro. Nitro's an improved team. But you've seen, that was right after Trevon Taylor had 47 on Ripley, and I mean, I was like, wow, how we going? 47 is a lot of points in high school for anybody, and we did a really good job on him and caused some turnovers there. Like Brooke is a very underrated team. I know the record doesn't look good, but I mean, they just are big size, great athletic team, and really strong inside. And of course, they take Wheeling Park to overtime tonight. So I mean, I just think the state is real even, especially in AAA. You got South Charleston out there a little bit ahead of everybody, but anybody I think can beat anybody in AAA. I mean, I think the top 25 teams can beat anybody, and it's going to be a really interesting year. It's really fun every night looking on your all's website to see, who's beating who and who upset who tonight. It's been pretty cool to look at.
Well, we definitely appreciate you visiting basketballnight.com. And Coach, the poll question this week was about AA and AAA and which was better this particular year. And I don't necessarily want to dive into that with you, but at the same time, you went through the AA ranks. You have a AA state championship. Right. You have a AAA state championship as well. And sometimes people think there's a huge difference, and there's really not at the top.
No, and there's not a big difference between the top. The top 4 or 5 single A teams can play with anybody in AAA also. I mean, it's not, I remember, and I'll never forget this, we were up Wheeling Park, and we're playing Wheeling Central one night, and the news writer asked, why did you play Wheeling Central and play Wheeling Park the next night? And I said, well, we're closer in size to Wheeling Central, who's single A, than we are to Wheeling Park, who we're in the same class with. So, I think there's the smaller AAA teams, there's not a lot of difference. I mean, you're talking 250 kids, 300 kids difference between, the biggest single A school and the smallest AAA school. So I think that's one thing. But AA basketball, if you look at the teams that are in AA that are always competitive with the AAA teams and are always in that running for the AA championship, and even down in single A, those teams all have great basketball programs. They all have passionate fans. And most of those teams play a tough schedule where they can go out and play some AAA teams, and they all play each other. So, that's one thing we've tried to do is keep some of our contacts in AA and single A just in case we go back to AA, which I think is a possibility, a real good possibility. And, I think there's not a lot of difference, especially this year. I'm not so sure Polka might be the best team in the state of West Virginia regardless of class. And, I mean, Westside goes up, beats Martinsburg. They beat us. And they beat us, pretty good, both teams. So, I don't know, guys. I think it's this year maybe more so than most years. It's really tight between who's the best class and who's the best team in this whole entire state,
Well, whatever happens should be a fun March, and it should be a fun time in Charleston. And, Coach, we wish you the best of luck getting there. I know you play Point Pleasant tomorrow on the road, and wish you the best of luck there. And you're always welcome on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Hey, no problem, guys. And again, I'm glad you all started this. I think it's a great idea. And again, your scores every night are pretty much the only place in our state we can get basketball scores, around the clock all the time with a little bit of report on them. It's great. Really appreciate you guys. Really do. Thank you, guys.
Well, we appreciate that. That's Mark Hatcher, head coach of the Logan Wildcats. They're 4-1. And we got time for one more call before we head to break. We got Wolfpack Willie with us. He's going to have a preview of the Hatfield-McCoy tournament. Wolfpack Willie, welcome into Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
I'm glad to be with y'all tonight.
What do you have for us?
Go over the matchups for the Hatfield-McCoy Kentucky-West Virginia shootout for next Saturday at Williamson Fieldhouse. Okay, 11:30 a.m., Phelps, Kentucky versus Hannah, boys game. And 1 o'clock, Pike Central versus Man, boys game. 2:30, Belfry, Kentucky versus Mingo Central, girls game. 4 o'clock, East Ridge versus Tulsa, boys game. 5:30, Wesley Christian, Kentucky versus South Charleston, boys game. 7 o'clock, Belfry, Kentucky versus Mingo Central, boys game. 8:30, Sean Clark, Kentucky versus Valley Fayette, boys game. And that's it.
Well, that sounds like a full day of good basketball.
Yeah.
Well,
And good place to watch basketball.
Absolutely, one of the best venues in West Virginia. That is without a doubt the Williamson Fieldhouse. Wolfpack Willie, thanks for calling in.
Okay.
All right, you have a good evening. See ya. And right now we're going to step aside and take a break. When we come back, we'll get a check of the scoreboard, and we'll hear from Abby Watson. She's a senior with the Hurricane girls basketball team. We'll talk with her as Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia rolls on here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
A big congratulations to Jared West. Jared was selected last week as the Basketball Night in West Virginia Standout Athlete of the Week. Have you got somebody that's remarkable on your team? Do you have an athlete that made an outstanding play? Nominate them for Basketball Friday Night Standout Athlete of the Week. And we've got a new one this week. Each week we consider nominees based on leadership, performance on the court, academic performance, involvement in the community, and volunteer work. Every Friday night, we select a Standout Athlete of the Week. Go to basketballnight.com/standout athlete. Just fill out the online form with your nomination. You can find it all at basketballnight.com. Basketballnight.com. From Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. If you love basketball, then there's only one place to be. It's Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. A shout out to our new followers on Twitter. We've surpassed our goal of 1,100. We're at 1,149 right now. We had 2 new followers tonight. Special thanks to Moorfield Basketball, Ferrari Mom, Ann Linegar, Curtis Edward, Trapper, Athlete Motivation, Joe Wallace, Robin Edwards, Pablo, Marilyn Monroe, Noah Sparks, Ricky, Reaper T, Jessica, Kelsey, Josh McLeod, Adams 114, and Scott Lionheart. We'd like for you to be part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family. Follow us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Coach Rick Marone, James Collier, and Ryan Epling.
9:47 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. We're not going to waste your time. In just a moment, we're going to hear from Abby Watson, Hurricane Girls High School basketball senior. But right now, we're going to turn it over to Coach Rick Marone for a look at the basketballfridaynight.com, basketballnight.com scoreboard.
Looking for adventure or just for scores? We've got them right here on basketballnight.com. Scoreboard update. Let's look at boys basketball first. In AAA, Wheeling Park, 70, Brooks 63. That game went to overtime. Buchanan Upshur gets a 66-43 win over Liberty Harrison. Hedgesville falls to Martinsburg tonight. It's 57-47, the Bulldogs. The Sissonville Indians get a 1-point win over Lincoln County. The Panthers fall 58-57. The Musselman-Appleman put the squeeze on the Washington Patriots. 60-53, Musselman gets the win. Class AA, number 1 Polka challenged a bit, but get a win. 43-33, big win over Chapmanville. 14-12, the score early in that one. Chapmanville tried to take the air out of the ball, but Polka found some air and put it in it. West Side 70, Wyoming East 53, big-time rivalry matchup there for the number 4 Renegades, and they get the win. Mingo Central 54, Scott 48. That's an upset. Scott ranked number 5. in Class AA. Also in AA, Frankfort gets a 1-point win over Berkeley Springs, 73-72 in overtime. Kaiser, the Golden Tornadoes, 61, Petersburg 45. The Wayne Pioneers go to overtime, but they defeat their cross-county rival, the Tulsa Rebels. It was 51-48. Wayne over Tulsa in overtime. Class A, number 1 Wheeling Central, 46. Lindsley, 29. Magnolia, the number 2 ranked Class A team, 75-55 over Payton City. Those two schools separated by 5.7 miles on Route 2. Payton City played at Bishop Donahue last night. Also, a great matchup going on in Naugatuck. Tug Valley up 2, 48-46. 32 seconds left as they lead Greater Beckley Christian. A big matchup that will probably be revisited later this year in tournament time. Tucker County trailing Notre Dame 43-34. Notre Dame leads Tucker County. That game not final yet. Valley Fayette gets a win over Greenbrier West 79-59. Fayetteville, the Pirates fall to Richwood. The Grizzlies get a 9-point win, 66-57. Madonna, the Blue Dawn, 69 over Toronto, 54. That's Toronto out of Ohio. Midland Trail, 62. Meadow Bridge, 58. Williamstown, Scott Sorrow's crew gets a big win, 69-40 over Parkersburg Catholic and the Crusaders. Let's flip the page over to the girls' side of things. And a lot of girls' games in action tonight. A lot of finals are rolling in here to basketballnight.com, and we'll start with AAA in the girls' side. South Charleston gets a little bit more of a test than maybe some thought. They get a win, but it's 53-42 over Capital. Parkersburg South 80, John Marshall 43. All these are final. Huntington High 74, Ripley 48. Cabell Midland gets an overtime win over Princeton, 56-54 for the Knights. George Washington, a big win, 60-32 over Nitro. Let's move to Class AA. Number 1 Fairmont Senior, 67. Elkins, 38. North Marion, 87. Philip Barber, 46. Summers County, the Bobcats, back on track, 77-65 over James Monroe. Halftime score, Sissonville, 38. Scott, 18. Kaiser, the Golden Tornadoes, 72. Northern Garrett Huskies out of Maryland, 33. That game is final. Another final, Clay County gets a 58-32 win over Roane County. The Lincoln Cougars, 59. East Fairmont, 39. In Class A, Tucker County, 59. Notre Dame, 31. That's a final. Webster County, 67-63 over Gilmer County. East Hardy, 54. Tigers Valley, 42. 50-39, the Tug Valley Lady Panthers get a win over Greater Beckley. 53-46, the 100 Hornets with a big win over Waynesburg. The West Green Pioneers come in and fall to 100, 53-46. And our final score, St. Mary's at the half, leading Tyler Consolidated 29-23. That's your basketballnight.com scoreboard update.
They didn't play tonight, but the Hurricane Redskins off to a fantastic start on the girls' side of things as they are 6-1. Abby Watson has been kind enough to hold on with us for a long time. She's a senior who's a big part of that 6-1 start. And Abby, welcome to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Thank you for having me.
Well, a Friday night without a ball game for you tonight, as still not a game until the 13th. So still a few days of a break here after coming off of a tough loss to Parkersburg as your first loss of the season. Tell me about that game. I know Parkersburg's having a little bit of a resurgence this year. They've had some pretty good wins, and they were able to go into Hurricane and get a win.
Well, giving all credit to Parkersburg, and we had everyone else play good, but I couldn't throw the ball in the ocean. Not taking any credit from anyone else. We had Maddie had 32, which is a huge game for her. Mary picked it up and had 18, I think, but I couldn't do anything, which, in my opinion, hurt us. But we still gave it a run and came up short at the end.
Well, sometimes the ball just won't go in, but that hasn't been a problem for you over the course of your career. I know earlier in the week, actually the day before, on the 6th, against Charleston Catholic in a 45-34 win. You hit the 1,500-point milestone. Congratulations on that. And that is one of the top active numbers in the state of West Virginia, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you very much. I didn't know that.
Abby, one of the things this season, having a player coming in like Mary, what has that allowed you to do as a scorer? Where last year you were forced a lot of times to have to bring the ball up and try to create your own offense.
Well, she really has helped tremendously. She pulled off pressure. Defenders can't box someone open anymore. We always have at least 3 people on the floor that people need to pay attention to, which not only hurts them, but it helps us. So it's been a huge help.
And you talked about Maddie Weeks, 32 points in the loss to Parkersburg. How big has she been to this offense, as well as what she's been able to do defensively to help you out, to get you open, and especially out in transition baskets?
She's been a huge help as well. She kind of had a rough game the night before, but she definitely picked it up the next day when we needed her. So I'm glad to have them both.
So you drop your first game of the season to Parkersburg. Now you pick up, try to get back on the winning ways after winning 6 in a row to start the season. What do you take away from that 3-point loss and try to build off of that moving forward?
Basically, our foul shots, we've been having trouble with those really towards the end of our stretch here. And in my opinion, foul shots kind of lost us the game yesterday. I think we missed like 14, which obviously easily could have won us the game. So just got to focus on making those.
Abby Watson, once again, over the 1,500-point mark for your career, and Hurricane Redskins are 6-1 and will play again on the 13th. I believe that is Tuesday night at home against Ripley. So good luck with that ball game, and wish you the best of luck throughout the remainder of the season.
Thank you very much.
All right, we definitely appreciate Abby for hanging in there with us this evening, as again we've had to put some people on hold for quite a while tonight, but it's been a busy night, and it's been one of those nights where things just kind of keep rolling along. And I'll turn here to Coach Marone for just a moment. And Coach, nights like tonight are kind of hectic. How did you get out of having a game tonight? That's what I want to know.
Hey, I do a lot of things for this show. You guys took me to task, and earlier this season I had to be a remote person here, but of course I'm said to be remote many times anyway, even when I am here. You guys don't discriminate. You abuse me when I'm here as well. But just the way the schedule fell, we actually played last night, and we have a couple games next week. So Friday night is usually a really busy night, and some of the rivalry games tonight, it all came together. But you talk about Rivalry Friday, I don't think you could give it a better name, because it is wall-to-wall hoops, and, man, it's some great atmospheres and great environments.
Yeah, take a taste of March in the second week. Well, the first full week, I should say, of January. It's a great thing to see, especially now that, as we've mentioned, we're getting away from the tournament scenarios, all of those out of the way. Now it's time for conference play. And what a way to kick off the first full weekend of that, of some of the games that we've had here: Wyoming East, West Side, Martinsburg, Hedgesville, just to name a few. And then you see some of these other teams that's starting to really to show some life of some younger teams. This Ripley team, I think that's a team that we really need to keep our eyes on going forward. As Brian Johnson talked about earlier, this is a team that had the state champs tied up with 3 minutes to go in the ball game, and this is a young team for Coach Faulkner up in Ripley. And we talked to Brian a couple weeks back, and he said he walked in there and it took him about 2 quarters to figure out, okay, he's not going to be able to run the offense that he wants to, but he knows that the adjustments he's made is what's going to make this team a better ball club. I can't wait to see what this Ripley team has to bring. But again, Poca, I think right now Polka's probably saying we may be one of the best teams, if not the best team in the state of West Virginia. As they're taking care of business every single night. As you said, Chapmanville trying to take the air out of the ball. Polka put it back in and took away a win.
Yeah, that was a 14-12 Chapmanville regional lead at halftime. And, Polka was able to figure out a way to play that style of game and win as well. And definitely an impressive win for them. And, again, we talked a little bit earlier about Mingo Central and Scott, and we have to take a break right now because we're right at the top of the hour already. We're already an hour in, guys.
An hour in, and where did the time
go?
But
when we come back from break, we'll hear from Joe Linville. He had the the call from Madison in that ball game, Scott and Mingo Central. So we'll talk with Joe Linville when we come back here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Tonight we welcome all of our affiliates. WPHP, Wheeling, 91.9 AM, 91.9 FM. Voice of the Wheeling Park Patriots. WSPW LP in Parkersburg, 97.9 FM. WHFI Linside, 106.7 FM, official voice of the James Monroe Mavericks. And to our friends in Logan, WVOW Logan, 101.9 FM and 1290 AM. Voice of the Logan Wildcats, Chapmanville Tigers, and the Man Hillbillies. WFGH Fort Gay, 90.7 FM. Official voice of the Tulsa Rebels, Spring Valley Timberwolves, and the Wayne Pioneers. WQAZ-LP Edmond, Fayetteville, 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM Beckley. Voice of the Fayetteville Pirates, Oak Hill Red Devils, Valley Fayette Greyhounds, Meadow Ridge Wildcats, and the Midland Trail Patriots. WYAP-LP Clay, 101.7 FM. Official voice of the Clay County Panthers. Marshall University, and 88.1 FM WMUL Huntington, voice of the Thundering Herd. Go to basketballnight.com where you can listen in, click Listen Live, or you can watch our high-definition video stream. Thanks again to rsnsports.com, too, for carrying the video stream tonight. If you're a Comcast subscriber, we're on channel 25. If you use Armstrong Cable, then we're on digital channel 204. There's no better place to be than right here for Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Follow us on Twitter @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. Tweet us your team scores and updates, and follow our collection of scores throughout the night.
This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, heard statewide on great radio stations. Visit basketballnight.com to find the station nearest you. Get all the scores all the time at basketballnight.com or on Twitter @hoops_roundup. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with James Collier, Rick Marone, Rudy Raines, and Ryan Epling.
It is 10:01 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. We dubbed it Rivalry Friday because so many rivalry games taking place. And, you know, maybe by definition it's not a rivalry game, but let's face it. Scott and Mingo Central are now rivals. Their games have been close since the inception of the school at Mingo Central 4 years ago now. As we had Joe Kinzer on earlier, he was telling us it's basically the series is almost even, and the games have been separated by a combined 24 points. Tonight, Mingo Central goes on the road and beats Scott. Joe Linville was there. He covers the Skyhawks regularly. And, Joe, I have to say, I was a little bit surprised that Mingo Central went into Madison and got the win.
I'll tell you what, it was a good game. First half, of course, they were all tied up at 27 at the half. Scott really just came out flat in the third quarter, and that was the difference in the ball game. Otherwise, I think it would have went right down to the wire. I tell you what, two very talented Class AA basketball squads met on the floor tonight.
There are a lot of good AA schools in the area. Polka may seem to be a step above everyone else, but I'll tell you that next level is highly competitive when you talk about Scott, Mingo Central, Chapmanville Regional. And then you can even dip down to Wyoming East, I think, is right in the thick of that as well. I mean, it's just very competitive. And, you know, we haven't even mentioned Herbert Hoover and Scott are both good, too.
Right. It's going to be, come down, later in a month or so there when they start playing sectional games. I'll tell you what, that's going to be a tough section to get out of. And you're right, Polka, they just seem like they're a step above everybody else. They've had a good program for several years, and of course they proved it last week with the win over Scott, pretty handedly. So, I think that's going to be the team with the big target on their back.
Hey, Joe, Coach Marone here. Good talking to you again tonight. I tell you what, getting to see this Mingo Central team, I got to see them earlier this year, and to be honest, it looked like there were a lot of interesting parts and a lot of talented players there, but it really wasn't meshing together at that point. Now, as the season has moved forward and we're getting, close to not mid-season quite yet, but do you kind of see that maybe things are starting to gel for the Miners? Joe Kinzer talked about they've got a couple of players back that have gotten practices in now. He talked about Stevie Hammond that got in there and had, I think, 8 assists. And are the pieces kind of falling in place for Mingo Central, do you think, to where they're even going to get better and better as the year goes on?
Yeah, I think so. You could kind of tell they were struggling a little bit, but the two big boys, the two Dixon kids, they both had 14 points apiece, and like you said, Stevie Hammond, man, I tell you what, he is a ball handler and he is a hustler. He's by far not the tallest kid on the team, but he contributed big for the Miners tonight.
Well, Joe, the Scott Skyhawks again are still off to a fantastic start. I know that's a rough loss tonight, but still 5-3 on the season, and that's a ball club I still think has a chance to make a lot of noise in the postseason. They are back in action against Westside here on Tuesday on the road, and those two teams played earlier in the season opener, and Westside won by 3. And right now, we all know how good Westside is.
Right. Yeah. There's another school in the region that's had a tough program, and it's just this basketball, especially AA in this area, is just phenomenal week in and week out.
You get your money's worth every time you go to the gym.
Absolutely.
Joe, we always appreciate talking to you, and definitely I look forward to hearing from you again.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
All right, you too. That's Joe Linville. He was at the Scott Mingo Central game that Mingo Central was able to get the win tonight. Greg Christ was at the Midland Trail Meadow Bridge game for WQTZ. That was a game that Midland Trail got the win, 62-58. He joins us now. Greg, great ball game tonight.
Yeah, it was a good ball game. It closed throughout the game until about midway through the third quarter. Midland Trail started pulling away. It was kind of a tale of two halves for a couple kids in the first half. Seth Crozier for Midland Trail scored 14 of his 16 points in the first half, and he suffered injury early in the third quarter. In fact, on the inbounds play, started out the third quarter, he injured his ankle, and he only scored 2 in the second half. But Tristan Miner stepped up for Midland Trail, and he had 2 points in the first half. He chipped in 13 in the second half. So those two guys led him in each half. And Midland Trail had a 20-point third quarter and kind of stretched the lead out. Got it up to 14 at one time, and Meadow Bridge cut it back down and got it down to within 5 with a minute to go. And but they were just unable to pull back into the game as Midland Trail made foul shots down the stretch and pulled out the win. It was a good ball game.
Meadow Bridge now 4-3, Midland Trail 3-3, and I guess just based on record, you expect that to be a good ball game, and it was. And just tell me a little bit about single A basketball in that area. Who are the teams in that particular region that are really standing out to you at this point in the season that you've got to maybe see or follow?
Right. Well, you mentioned, these two teams, and I coached at Midland Trail for a number of years as the head coach, and Meadow Bridge, Midland Trail is always a big rivalry game because the schools are so close together, but it's usually a good contest regardless. But in our area, Valley Fayette probably is the one public school that stands out. They have a very nice team that made the state tournament last year and had all their players back. They did lose one to transfer this year, but they're still a pretty solid team, very athletic, have a little bit of size. Watched them play Midland Trail last week, and they're a nice single-A team. But probably the best team, well, not probably, without a doubt, the best team in our area is Greater Beckley Christian. And I've watched them play. I didn't call their games, but I have a good former assistant coach of mine is the head coach there, Brian Helton, and I've watched them play. And if there's any single-A teams better than them in the state, I'd like to see them because they are mighty good.
Well, Greg, they went down tonight on the road at Tug Valley.
I talked to him earlier, and he was very concerned. just because of the matchup. And Tug Valley's in this region with them as well, and of course most people expect those two teams to come out of it. I know Coach Helton was really concerned about this trip down to Tug Valley, and I know sure you guys know too, going to Tug Valley, I don't care how good you are, that's a tough place to go play and win.
Absolutely. And again, you had a great ball game. We don't want to overshadow that. Midland Trail Meadowbridge, great game tonight. Greg Christ, WQTZ. Good hearing from you. We look forward to hearing from you again next week.
All right, no problem.
All right. And moving right along, as we just keep rolling through here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, it's time for our Standout Athlete of the Week. This week, it is Jadarian Wade of Parkersburg High School. James, you've got more on him. He is with us now.
Well, it's as one of the things we started about 2 shows in, we wanted to really show what the student athletes are doing. And this is an award that we give out each week. It comes from nominations from outside the community. It can be a parent, a coach, a teacher. We had a teammate last week that one was given out to. And this one came in last week for Mr. Wade. And when I received this nomination, I read it, and then I read through it again, and I went, wow. I said, this one right here is a no-brainer. He'll definitely fit the bill for what this is. And go to basketballnight.com/standout athlete. You can see the list of all of the previous winners as well as submit your nomination for the standout athlete. But before we talk with Jadarian, let's go through his nomination. He's a second-year varsity team captain, also an honor roll student, volunteers in the community at the Friendship Kitchen serving meals, cleaning up, and other miscellaneous work. He's volunteered there for 3 years and actually spent Thanksgiving at the Parkersburg Salvation Army helping serve dinner. He works with the local youth at the community through the Parkersburg YMCA, also helps coach through several camps out the year at the YMCA and other community outlets. This year, he's averaging just under 22 points a game. Last year, he was an all-state top contender as well as a leading scorer. He was Parkersburg's leading scorer and rebounder and made second-team All-State, second-team All-Conference. He's a standout at the Big Shots Showcase in Huntington, West Virginia over the summer and was also chosen by vote and public voting from the WTAP to the All-State team. Jadarian Wade, this week's Standout Athlete of the Week. Jadarian, good evening. How are you?
How are you doing? I'm doing pretty good.
Jadarian, like I told you earlier when I spoke with you on the phone, a landslide of a nomination. Young man, that is quite the resume to put together for a high school senior. Congratulations on being selected, and just kind of what is it about the opportunity to work with the community and especially going out on Thanksgiving and serving Thanksgiving dinner to someone else that it really brings so much to you being able to do that?
I just enjoy it. It brings a sense of humility. It teaches you how to just be thankful for what you have and what God's given you in this world.
You talked about the opportunity to work with camps and work with the youth at the YMCA. How fulfilling is that for you as a player to be able to give back to the community and the youth that look up to you and watch you every night at high school basketball games and seeing what you do and they want to be like you and follow in those footsteps?
It's good because I enjoy it, and it's just good to see the kids smile on their face when you go in and help them and help with their learning and development for future, and that's.
Well, Jadarian, Ryan Epling here. The Parkersburg community is one of the more tight-knit AAA-sized communities that we have in West Virginia. I know I have some friends up there who have always talked about how much the school means to that area. And some of those extracurricular things that we were talking about there a while ago, including just, spending Thanksgiving helping out with some folks as well. Just tell me about the I guess the sense of community that comes with Parkersburg High School.
It's a very close-knit community, so you really know everybody, and it's just good to get out there and help people and just see how happy it makes people and the young kids. And
Jadarian,
it's really close. What was it?
I was going to say, let's talk a little bit about your season coming up. You're 3-4 through this year, but 3 of your 4 losses are combined 10 points, including a 3-point loss to the state champion Huntington Highlanders. You lost by 1 to Park South, 6 to Preston, and then you had the big loss to Hurricane. But when you look back at those 3 games combined by 10 points, what does that say about where this team is so far in the season, 7 games in?
I mean, I think we're about ready just to break through. I think we've had a couple tough starts. I mean, we don't play as hard as we should, but the talent's there just to break through and finally have a good game and show the state where we could really be. But we haven't done it because we just haven't played hard and we haven't just shown everybody what we could really do. It's just a tough start.
You have an opportunity to, as you said, break through tomorrow night. You've got Spring Valley coming in fresh off of the loss to Capital earlier this week, excuse me. What do you have to do to take away that powerful Spring Valley team, and what do you know about what Capital was able to do against Spring Valley?
Honestly, I didn't hear much about that game, but we'd have to play hard, and we have to stop Jacob Kilgore, and we have to just play a hard game. If we do that, I think we can come away with the win.
Well, that's our standout athlete of the week. He is Jadarian Wade of Parkersburg High School. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. We definitely appreciate him joining us as well. We're going to stay right here. We're going to go right on to WQAZ's Bill Laird. He had Valley Fayette, Greenbrier West tonight. And Bill, Valley Fayette, pretty good ball club.
They sure are. And again, very impressive performance tonight as they hosted the Cavaliers from Greenbrier West. And again, Valley came into the ball game with some momentum, but just a very convincing 79-51 win tonight against the Cavaliers on their home court here in Smithers. But again, I think Joe McCoy, head coach at Valley Greyhounds, has every reason to be pleased and optimistic about this year's team. He returns 3 starters off last year's state tournament team in the form of sophomore Tracy Conliffe, in addition to 2 juniors, Zach Warden and Henry Barron. So he really has a solid nucleus on this ball team, a lot of athleticism, and they just got off to a quick start, jumped to a 27-11 first quarter lead against the Cavaliers. The score was 41-17 at halftime, and he pulled his starters toward the end of the ball game and cruised to a 79-51 win. So I look for the Valley Greyhounds to make a little noise as the season goes on. They've got a lot of talent, a lot of skill, and they certainly were aggressive tonight.
Team now 5-1 on the season. The only loss was a 2-point loss to Buchanan Upshur last Saturday, and Buchanan Upshur, AAA school. Against the single A's, Valley Fayette's been winning by double figures most of the time.
They certainly have, and again, according to head coach Joe McCoy, the loss against Buchanan Upshur, he had a number of starters out with a little bit of the flu bug, so he proclaimed they were healthy tonight, and they sure made a believer out of me as they cruised to a solid win against outgunned and outmatched Greenbrier West ball.
Well, Bill Laird of WQAZ. We always appreciate hearing from you, and look forward to hearing from you again next week.
Okay, take care.
All right, thank you very much. Right now, we've got to step aside and take a break. When we come back, we'll get that long-awaited scoreboard update for you. Some games have gone final since the last time we spoke, including a big one in Naugatuck. Talk about that and more when Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia continues here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them in West Virginia, visit basketballnight.com. Last week, we asked you to vote on the Basketball Friday Night poll question. What is the better usage of the holiday break? 54% of you agreed to learn on the fly by playing in tournaments. You've got until 11:45 tonight to vote in this week's poll. And the question is Is the competition in Class AA boys this season better than Class AAA? Vote yes or no online at basketballnight.com. Go to basketballnight.com and you'll find this week's poll on the right-hand side of the page. We'll share the results of voting tonight at the end of the show. Check it out. Vote in this week's poll. Is the competition in Class AA boys this season better than Class AAA? You've got till 11:45. You'll find it at basketballnight.com. We appreciate all the new followers and everyone sending us scores on Twitter. Follow us at @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. A shout out to Tug Valley High School Panthers, the Martinsburg Bulldogs, Mountain State Prep Hoops, Jack Withrow, David Gorby, Donald Butcher, SCHS Athletics, Matt Welch. They're all following us on Twitter and sending us scores, and you can too. Join us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup. Shout out to Big Red Athletics, Matthew, Kirky McCowan, John Sissy Barker, Bob Red, North Marion GVB, Spencer Leatherman, Scott Nolte, RH Sports Desk, Nick Hurst at WCHS. Follow us at @hoops_roundup.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Coach Rick Marone, James Collier, and Ryan Epling.
And we're back here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Rivalry Friday. Great ball games all across the state of West Virginia. Great games from Madison to Naugatuck to Martinsburg to Wayne and everywhere in between tonight.
Yeah, Eastern Panhandle to the tip, all the way to the coal fields and everything in between. It's kind of funny that we started talking about the games earlier this week, and then it just kind of settled in. It's Rivalry Friday. And Coach Marone, you know all about that going from the coaching side of things. You talked about it, the cross-county rivalries between Wayne and Tulsa, and even the Tug Valley and Mingo Central. That game really not a rivalry game, but quickly becoming that because of the closely played contests.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Tug Valley and Greater Beckley Christian, by far two of the classiest programs in Class A. Tug Valley kind of ending the private school dominance with their Class A title coming on the heels of their AA excellence. So I tell you what, tonight, and it just fell into place. Obviously, nobody sat down and tried to plan this out, but you get West Side Wyoming East, Ryan, you get Tug Valley Greater Beckley, you get a Tulsa Wayne, not backyard, side yard brawl. That's always exciting, and it just goes on, and it's been an awesome night and start of a weekend of great high school basketball.
Martinsburg Hedgesville is one of the top rivalries in the Eastern Panhandle. It just seemed like one rivalry type game after another. Hey, Meadow Bridge, Midland Trail's a rivalry game. I mean,
exactly.
These teams go after it. And right now we're going to turn it over to James with a check of our basketballnight.com scoreboard.
Let's go straight to the girls' scoreboard. We'll start first in Class AAA. Nearly an upset as the number 2 team, South Charleston, struggles but gets past the Capital Cougars, 53-42 your final. Number 3 Park South eases past John Marshall, 80-34. Number 4 Huntington, no problem with the Ripley Vikings, 74-48. That game a final. Overtime in Princeton as Cabell Midland gets a 2-point win over the Princeton Tigers, 56-54. George Washington over Nitro, 60-32. Greenbrier East over Fayetteville, 72-27. In Class AA, number 1 Fairmont Senior, no problem with Elkins, 67-38 a final. Number 2 North Marion, 87. Philip Barber, 46. Summers County rolls over James Monroe, 77-65. And once again, another week that justice is served. Brittany Justice, 28 points. Whitney nets 26 in the win for the Bobcats. At the half, Sissonville leads Scott, 37-18. Number 6 Kaiser over Northern Garrett out of Maryland, 72-33. Number 9 Clay County gets a win over Roane County, 58-32. Lincoln over East Fairmont, 59-39. In Class Single A, number 3 Tucker County over number 9 Notre Dame, 59-31. An upset as unranked Webster County knocks off number 8 Gilmer County, 67-63. East Hardy over Tigers Valley 54-42. Tug Valley over Greater Beckley 50-39. It was the 100 Hornets picking up the win over West Green out of Pennsylvania 53-46. Hancock knocks off the Paw Paw Pirates 34-23. And St. Mary's victorious over Tyler Consolidated 70-54. Now to the boys' side as number 7 Wheeling Park goes to overtime with unranked Brook and comes away victorious 70-63. Buchanan Upshur over Liberty Harrison 66-43. Martinsburg gets a 10-point win over Hedgesville 57-47. Sissonville by 1 over Lincoln County 58-57. Musselman over Washington 60-53. In Class AA, number 1 Polka survives a scare over Chapmanville 43-33 the final. In that contest, it was 14-12 at the half in favor of the Tigers. Number 4 West Side, a big win over Wyoming East 70-53. Number 7 Mingo Central knocks off number 5 Scott inside the garage 54-48 the final. Overtime at Berkeley Springs as Frankfort comes away with a win 73-72 the final. Kaiser a 16-point win over Petersburg 61-45. Wayne and Tulsa, the Wayne County cross-county rivalry goes to overtime, and the Pioneers better the Rebels by 3, 51-48. In Class Single A, Wheeling Central, number 1 in Class Single A over Lindsley, 46-29. This game was 18-0 after the first quarter. Number 2 Magnolia over Payton City, 75-55. It was Tug Valley with the upset over number 3 Greater Beckley Christian, 50-47. Number 5, Tucker County trails at the end of 3. Number 9, Notre Dame, 43-34. Number 8, Valley Fayette over Greenbrier West, 79-51. It was Richwood over Fayetteville, 66-57. The Blue Dons of Madonna knocks off Toronto out of Ohio, 69-54. Midland Trail betters Meadow Bridge, 62-58. And our final score, Williamstown over Parkersburg Catholic, 69-40. That's a check of your basketball FridayNight.com scoreboard update.
Thank you very much, James. Thank you, James. There, if I turn my mic on, that helps.
That helps.
I hear that helps.
Back there, so.
Yeah. So we did really good. We're going to tell you who our special guest here is in just a moment. Not yet. Guys in the back, calm down. Not yet. We'll get to that in just a moment.
He's anxious enough as it is. We don't need to spoil the surprise.
Right. We're just going to let him sit there for just a minute because I think everybody in Wyoming County who could possibly get there was in Clear Fork tonight. J.D. Rollins made the trip from Beckley with the Register Herald to that ball game. Westside gets the win over Wyoming East tonight. J.D., there is no better atmosphere, in my opinion, in West Virginia high school basketball than when those two get together, and Westside a little bit better tonight.
Yeah, guys, I tell you, there's nothing that matches this atmosphere. I've been lucky. This is my 9th time in 3 years to cover this game. It's crazy that they've played 9 times in 3 years. But each time it seems like it's a better game. And probably more surprising is the fact that I think I found the one spot in all of Wyoming County that has cell phone service right now to call you guys. So you guys should feel really honored to have me on right now.
JD, we put a special tower in that area just so we could get a report from the game tonight.
I tell you, I sent Daniel Hall a tweet one day asking if he could make that happen. So maybe he can. But guys, this game was a lot of fun. Westside jumped out early. Justin Kennedy, I call him the junkyard dog because that's what he plays defense. I mean, he's all over the place. He's feisty, but he did it on offense tonight. He put up 13 points in the first quarter, and that let Westside jump out to a 29-11 lead in the first quarter, and they never really looked back. They never lost the lead the entire game. It was Westside basketball at their best. The interesting fact that we found out is that looking at the stats, that Westside won that first quarter, but when you add up the final 3 quarters, they were actually outscored by Wyoming East. So that Justin Kennedy's performance in that first quarter was just huge.
JD, one thing that pointed out in that game, Will Fox, big in this contest, but things got chippy in this game early on and nearly got out of hand, but a good job by the officiating crew to kind of keep things tightened down and let the play finish out on the court like it should.
Yeah, well, listen, I'll save what I would want to say about the officiating in this game, but yeah, it does get chippy. They get chippy down here. These kids, it's a rivalry, but they all get along. Is what's the crazy thing about it? They've known each other. They've been playing together forever. There were times that maybe some fouls could have been called, or there was at least one occasion where maybe a technical could have possibly been called on a player that wasn't. But the referees, I guess, did their job of keeping it under control. You mentioned Will Fox. Will Fox actually came down with an injury in the second quarter. He tripped over John Morgan's foot and rolled his ankle, and that kind of changed things for Westside. They had to come out of their full court offense and kind of slow things down a little bit, and that allowed Wyoming East a chance to get back in the ball game. I'll tell you, if Wyoming East could have hit 3/4 more of their free throws, they could have came away with this win. Didn't shoot well from the line. Didn't shoot well overall. Period. A lot of poor shot selections. But I'll tell you, this team's going to be good. It seems like Westside's the team that's coming out of this region as that number 1 seed. But then you look at Wyoming East, you look at Bluefield, you look at Pikeview. It could be interesting between those 3 teams the rest of the way. You could possibly see Wyoming East make their way to Charleston as well. That would not surprise me. Logan Blankenship is a player that I think people around the state need to take notice of. He scored 25 tonight for Wyoming East. He really put the team on his shoulders when they needed it the most. He stepped into that leadership role. And, guys, I don't know if you've seen Wyoming East this year, but they're definitely not the same team they were in the past. They've lost a lot of pieces. So he's playing a lot of young guys that this is their first time being on this stage. They played the JV game. And trust me, there's more people at this JV game than there probably is any other JV game in the state. But they played in that stage. And once you float in the varsity game, in the big moments, it can be a little overwhelming. I think they got the best of them tonight.
Well, JD, you had the pleasure of being at that Wyoming East Westside game, and again, Westside gets the win. JD Rollins, Register Herald out of Beckley. Thanks for calling tonight, and I know you made an effort to find the cell phone spot in Wyoming East, and we're glad in Wyoming County, excuse me, and we're glad you were able to do that.
Yeah, I got to give Register Herald online editor Jonathan Green the props on that. He's sitting beside me as we're literally just sitting outside Wyoming East High School around the back of the school. It might look suspicious, I don't know. But, he found the spot with his cell phone, and we thought we would call you guys because we like you. So now I'm going to go enjoy a few days off.
Well, we appreciate that, and after an atmosphere like that, you deserve a couple of days off. You enjoy it, and guys.
Yeah, I'm heading to Columbus. I'm heading to Columbus for a few days, and hopefully my Buckeyes will win one for me on Monday night, and I'll be able to celebrate some more. So.
All right, there you go, JD and company that are at the Register Herald. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we're going to stay right here before we would go to break. We're going to stay right here. T.G. Griffith, WYAP, Clay County. Their girls tonight were in action against Roane County, and Clay County, of course, a ball club that's been to the state tournament the past couple of years. They get the win over Roane County, 58-32. And TG, good to hear from you this year.
Well, thanks, guys, for giving me an opportunity to call in. I've been otherwise occupied the last couple of weeks and just haven't been able to get to the phone on Friday night. Just run down real quickly how the girls won tonight. It was a closer. The score didn't indicate how close the game was. Actually, Roane County within 2 points in the third quarter, and Clay County able to break it open in the fourth quarter, finally by a 58-32 margin. I'm just going to recap real quick. Tell you first about our boys. They're 4-4 overall. They beat sectional rival Herbert Hoover on Tuesday night, but then lost to LKC rival. You were talking about rivals a while ago. Braxton County, they lost to Braxton County Thursday night. The Panthers are 1-1 in sectional tournament. They beat Herbert Hoover, but they lost to Nicholas County earlier this month. And they are 3-1 in the LKC, and they're kind of focusing on the LKC for right now, near the end of the season when the sectional tournament comes about. Of course, we got number 1 AA Polka in our sectional, so that's a tough road to hoe right this moment. But right now they're focusing on the LKC competition, and that's more competitive, and they have a better chance there. Like I said, they're 3-1 there. Our ladies are 7-2, ranked number 9 this week in the AP AAAP poll and number 6 in the coaches poll. And there are only 2 losses. They lost to number 2 Wheeling Central by 4 in the Williamstown tournament, and then lost to number 4 Summers County AA at the Civic Center. They just had a bad night that night overall. But the ladies are 4-0 in the LKC. And Mackenzie Barker, she got 26 tonight, points that is, but she was 6 of 8 from the line, hit 2 3-pointers, had 7 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 assists, and a block. So busy night for her. She scored her 1,000th point about 4 games into the season this year. So we congratulate her, and she's the spark plug for the Lady Panthers this year. Now we only dressed 8 players tonight. The flus hit us pretty badly. In fact, Mary Ramsey, you know very well, she's been under the weather all week trying to fight her way through this flu, so she wasn't herself tonight, but able to stick around and get this win.
Well, TG are definitely a nice win for Clay County. We hope everybody gets healthy. Everybody gets over the flu.
Yeah.
It seems to be going around. Hopefully you're doing good. And again, we missed you the last few weeks. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, well, like I said, just been preoccupied and I wasn't able to get back with you, but we'll make up for it in the next month or so.
Sounds good.
Hey, before I leave, I want to leave you with one Clay County distinction. And last time I checked, unless things have changed, only 2 counties in West Virginia do not have a traffic signal. One of them was Lincoln County. Now, I don't know whether things have progressed down there anymore or not, but Clay County, I can speak for Clay County, and we have no traffic lights in our county. So I wanted to leave you with that. I don't know if that's good or bad.
I think that's good for traffic.
Yeah, it's easy to get around in the county, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'm actually going to check on Lincoln County because when they put the new high school in there in Hamlin, they may have put a red light in. I'll have to check. I'm not positive.
That's what I was thinking, or a caution light.
It's okay until they start using as a joke of telling someone to go to the traffic light and make a left, and then there's actually a traffic light, and it just messes everyone up.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey.
All right. Hey, guys, have a good night. Good talking to you.
You too, TG, and always good to
Okay.
hear from TG Griffith, WYAP in Clay County. Right now, we've got to step aside, take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from Jordan Mounts. He was at that great ball game tonight in Naugatuck between Tug Valley and Greater Beckley Christian, and our guest who has just kind of ominously been sitting on set here for us the last few moments. He's dying to give Coach Marone a technical foul.
I may give him that opportunity.
We'll tease it at that. We'll be right back with more Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia right after this.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them in West Virginia, visit us at basketballnight.com. Congratulations tonight to Jadarian Wade. Jadarian was selected as the Basketball Friday Night Standout Athlete of the Week this week. Someone remarkable on your team? Do you have an athlete who made an outstanding play or done something incredible? Nominate them for Basketball Friday Night Standout Athlete of the Week. Each week we consider nominees based on leadership, performance on the court, academic performance, involvement in the community, and volunteer work. Every Friday night, we select a Standout Athlete of the Week. Go to basketballnight.com/standout athlete, or just click on Standout Athlete. Fill out the online form with your nomination. It's all on basketballnight.com. basketballfridaynight.com. Also, we want you to join us on Twitter. We want to thank everybody that has been sending us tweets tonight with all the game updates, including Michael Manette, Coach Eddie, HHS Girls Basketball, Hawks Nest, Sean Dempsey, Rick Kozlowski, Brian Harper, and Brian. Martinsburg Bulldogs, TVHS Panthers, Mountain State Prep Hoops, Jack Withrow, David Gorby, Donald Butcher, SCHS Athletics, and Matt Welch. Join us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. You've helped us break over 1,100. We're at 1,149 followers on Twitter. We want to make that 1,200. Go to Twitter, follow us at @hoops_roundup. At @hoops_roundup.
This is high school basketball's home for the Mountain State. Basketball Friday night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to basketball night in West Virginia with James Collier, Coach Rick Marone, and Ryan Epling.
10:38 on this jam-packed basketball Friday night in West Virginia. A great Friday night for hoops in the Mountain State. Ryan Epling, Rick Marone, James Collier with you, and again, our special mystery guest who we'll get to in just a moment. But before we do that, we want to talk with Jordan Mounts. He was at Tug Valley's win tonight over Greater Beckley Christian. Great ball game in Naugatuck. Tug Valley knocking down some free throws down the stretch, Jordan, and able to get out with a win.
Yeah, guys, you can't say that. You can't say that enough. It was a great game. Greater Beckley Christian definitely showed up to play. You know, just the atmosphere in the arena of Tug Valley High School and Panther Nation is just a little bit too much for them to overcome.
Let's go back 5 years when Tug Valley was in Double-A, and if you would have been told that Greater Beckley Christian is going to come in and it's going to be a huge game, nobody's going to believe you at that point. But now that has turned into an outstanding rivalry.
Who's that, Greater Beckley Christian,
Absolutely.
Tug Valley?
Yes.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more.
And tell me about how Tug Valley was able to get that win tonight.
Let me start here really quickly by Greater Beckley Christian. They were led by the night by number 2, Courtney Walton. He had 11 points for them on the night. And, you know, the big story for Greater Beckley Christian, a name very well known to the Crusaders in that area, Elisha Kidd. Tug Valley was able to hold him to only 10 points on the night. As for Tug Valley, they were led, looking through my stats right now, they were led by the freshman, Tyler May, 5'10" guard freshman out of Kermit. Or, no, excuse me, I think he went to Lenore, excuse me. Either way,
you get in trouble
Tyler
for that
May,
down
freshman
there.
Coming up. Huh?
You get in trouble for that down there.
Very much so, I know. I realize that. Either way, Tyler came up big for us. He had 23 points for the Panthers in tonight's game.
Great win tonight for Tug Valley. Again, that's against a sectional rival in Greater Beckley Christian, Jordan Mounts. I know that was a great ball game to be at and a great atmosphere there in Naugatuck. Few people do it better down there, and appreciate you calling us tonight.
Hey, no problem, guys. Good to talk to y'all.
Hey, good to hear from you and good to talk to you as well. I look forward to doing that, making that a Friday night routine here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Speaking of routines, usually we have Bo Anderson on hold for about what?
45,
50
55 minutes.
Yeah. So today we put him on hold offset for about an hour and a half. But now he is with us. Our resident referee, Bo Anderson, on set, joining us here tonight. Bo, welcome to our new set here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Well, it's very nice as I can see, but it needs a little addition. And you know, over the years, I've had Coach Marone in games, and he likes to help me out. So tonight, I brought a referee shirt.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And it's actually got the official SSAC patch on it.
Oh, no.
So therefore, he can display it in front of him when he thinks about making calls that I'm trying to make correctly.
You know he's going to break this out and get a technical foul on the bench at some point now.
Well,
I just
he
hope
might
I'm there
do
to see it.
He may do it, but at least he'll be official when he does.
Yeah, he's got the patch and everything.
Well, I don't know. What do they say about stripes? I mean, as far as fashion statement, I mean,
I think vertical
they make you more
stripes.
slender.
Vertical stripes are okay.
Good, yeah. The vertical's good.
I've always been officiating from over on the bench, so this will just put me in proper uniform
Oh,
and
yeah.
add the fourth man they've been wanting anyway. They got a third man. I think the next step is to get a fourth man, pull a rocking chair into each corner, and then you don't have to move.
There you go.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you what, I brought that for you guys to display. I wanted to present it to him. But the only thing is I'm going to have a problem is if I do make it back up to the show again and I see red targets on it, I know we're going to have problems.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be some red on it somewhere.
Oh, we appreciate it. Hey, that might be like the gem of all things.
Yeah, we get a lot of swag from different schools. I mean, who would have ever guessed that our third addition to the set is going to be an SSAC official?
And it
referee.
will be between the Spring Valley and Tulsa,
Well, it
Jersey,
very
which
well
is probably a
should
good
be.
place
That's
for
a
it.
good place for it.
Yeah,
Two
probably
Wayne
so.
County teams.
That's
Yeah,
right.
definitely needs to be there.
Bo, we appreciate it. This will be proudly displayed, and even though I harass you and give you a hard time, you're a great friend of the show and a great contributor to the show, and everybody looks forward to having you.
Well, I really enjoy doing the show again. I've said it time and time again. And another thing tonight, it saved me on my cell phone minutes. So, I actually can come
Those
in
darn
here,
track phones.
They can. Well, I'm a little better than that, but, actually, I won't have to worry about staying on hold for so long tonight. Just sit here and enjoy the show. And again, I think by the responders of the tweets, you guys have got a great show going, and I think there's a lot of listeners, and you're adding more every week.
The funny thing, we were kind of kidding off set whenever we were on break, and Marone was kind of chiming in. He goes, he said, there's probably a reason why this guy doesn't like me too well. He said, who had to guard him in basketball when we played? I said, Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. Well, and then I pointed at him because he's got that little beard going.
Yeah, I know. I said, no wonder Marone can't get a call when he's
Ryan,
on the
you've
floor.
lost complete control.
I'm having fun just listening to this, guys.
Bo, let's talk about this is something that we discussed earlier this year with the new NFHS regulations for PA announcers, and we won't display the venue of where this occurred, but you and I ended up in the same building earlier this week, and needless to say, those regulations were not adhered to, and it goes back. There was one situation that the official did kind of stop the play, tell the announcer that he or she needed to speed things up. But it was definitely one-sided in favor of the home team by the announcer happening. What should have happened, in your opinion, as a referee in that instance? Because it was definitely a violation per the new regulations.
Well, first off, a lot of problems occur, but we're having to referee everything now. Pretty soon we're going to have to referee the concession stand. And if they charge too much, we're going to have to charge a technical foul to the home administration. I have not, again, been to a game or a gym where the announcers have gotten it right. The bottom line is it's very tough. I think, sometimes, 2 or 3 problems occur, but for the most part, I'm refereeing the game, and I'm not paying attention to what's being announced unless it's really some kind of a bad mistake as far as fouls concerned, team fouls on the board, because, we try to keep track and make sure that they're putting those fouls on the board. But, it's going to be a problem all year. And I think, we're supposed to report to the WVSSAC if there is a problem. Again, what I've tried to do is maybe talk to the athletic directors, but, I've got to worry about the game and what's being played. And sometimes the announcements, I don't even hear those because I'm busy, reporting fouls, listening to what my partners have. I'm focused on the game. I'm not focused on what the announcers are doing. And unless there's something really extremely bad, I don't, sometimes I don't even hear what they're saying because I'm worried about the game.
And going back to one of the new rules that kind of has taken over, it started in college last year. It's made its way into high school this year. But the hand check fouls, the away from the ball, or especially out away 30 feet away from the basket. But then you go underneath into the paint. Anything less than a shanking is almost legal underneath, and it's almost like a war that it's what's happening underneath the basket. What's been the big change that's going on between these two? Because away from the basket, a touch foul is getting a whistle. Underneath, I mean, it's every man for himself.
Well, I think that, the bigger players inside can take a little bit more of the contact. I think it's more the thing is freeing up the players when they're going to the rim. If Coach Marone can still guard me if he can stick his hand out and hold me the whole way. So, I think that's one of the issues that we have. And again, and I said it a week or two ago, I have not had that many problems with the hand checking since they have redefined the rule where everybody will understand it. Yes, we're still going to miss a call. Yes, we're going to think it is when it wasn't. We're human just like everybody else in the game. But I think that due to putting those 4 precise things into the officials' manual, into the rule book, it has given everybody a better understanding, and nobody's complaining whenever you blow the whistle and call the foul for those things, because it is affecting a person trying to go to the rim. And, if it's going to put someone at advantage or give someone a disadvantage, we have to make those calls as much and as accurate as we can possibly make them.
Well, Bo, I want to go to a situation that came up in a game that I attended probably 6 or 7, maybe even 8 years ago now. It was in a little place called Glen Hayes, and it was a girls' basketball game. And the visiting team there was in a close game. It was a game that the visiting team lost in overtime. And there was a shot taken by the visiting team. They missed the shot. Ball was knocked back, and I don't remember exactly what happened in terms of if it was deflected back or if it just missed so badly that it hit like the side of the backboard and then popped straight back into the backcourt. But the team that shot it ran it down and was called for an over and back violation. Was that the correct call?
No, that was not the correct call. There is no team control during an attempt. So therefore, that shot or the batting of the ball by the offense that had taken that shot, anybody can go get that basketball. It's the same as if a shooter takes a shot, and again, you're going to have the fans manual and you're going to have the coach's manual out where everybody's yelling, but a shooter who attempts a shot, if they shoot an air ball, they're legally allowed to go get that shot, rebound that air ball without it touching anything. There is no team control during a field goal attempt, and therefore it's any man's basketball. And if it goes in the backcourt, so be it. It's in the backcourt. We go back and get it. We're still playing.
Coach Marone, that is the one call that went in your favor.
The only one.
That's the only one. Yep.
Well, I'm wondering if he paid those guys a little extra. I don't know. You got to watch that guy. I'm telling you.
We all like Coach Marone. He knows we're just giving him a hard time. Of course, that's why we do it to his face. Not only when he's not able to be here. But we're gonna have to step aside, take a break. When we come back, we'll have more basketball Friday night in West Virginia. We'll also have a little bit more Bo Anderson when we come back here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them in West Virginia, visit basketballnight.com. It's the Daily Hoops Roundup, part of basketballnight.com. If you go to our website, you can check it out, Daily Hoops Roundup. And also, if you follow us on Twitter, @HoopsRoundup, @Hoops_Roundup, you'll get a tweet with a link, and it is all the scores of the day. It's the Daily Hoops Roundup, part of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Join us on Twitter, @Hoops_Roundup, @Hoops_Roundup. New followers, we welcome you. Moorfield Basketball, Ferrari Mon, Ann Linegar, Curtis Edward, Trapper, Athlete Motivation, Joe Wallace, Robin Edwards, Pablo, Marilyn Monroe, Noah Sparks, Reaper T, Ricky, Jessica, Kelsey, Josh, Adams 114, and Scott Leonhardt. Thanks for being part of the Basketball Friday Night family. We're at 1,149 followers on Twitter. We want to make it 1,200. We'd like for you to be part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family. Send in your scores, give us a tweet, become part of the Basketball Friday Night show, @Hoops_Roundup, @Hoops_Roundup. There's many ways you can send us your scores. You can call us toll free, 1-855-345-4709. Twitter, @Hoops_Roundup. Text 304-249-4924 and email scores@basketballnight.com. Check it out. You can find all the ways to interact with us at basketballnight.com.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Coach Rick Marone, James Collier, and Ryan Epling.
It is 10:52 on this Basketball Friday night in West Virginia. a wonderful night of basketball across the state on this celebration of high school basketball on the Mountain State Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Ryan Epling, Rick Marone, James Collier with you. We've also got our resident referee, Bo Anderson, hanging around with us. We'll get back to him in a few moments. Again, if you want to contact the show, you can do so, basketballnight.com, or hit us on Twitter, @hoops_roundup. And definitely like to interact with the folks who are listening out there and who follow our program. And I'll tell you, one basketball program that has been a steady, constant contender over the years in West Virginia has been the George Washington Patriots. Rick Green is the head coach of the Patriots. He joins us now. And Coach Green, welcome to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Well, thanks, guys. Fun to be with you.
We're glad to have you, and your team coming off of a win over Nitro last night, 63-53. Nitro, of course, having the explosive scorer that they do, and that we've talked about earlier in the program. But your team able to get the win and able to bounce back nicely after a tight loss to Winfield.
Yeah, we did. We responded well, I think. I think everybody in the conference is a little bit better this year. And, Nitro, the guys there are doing a good job with it. So anytime you get a win anymore, period, I think it's good. And I think when you get a conference win, it's especially good.
Coach James Collier, thanks for joining us here tonight. And congratulations on win number 350, the 58-49 win last weekend over Hedgesville.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's just a lot of support from my wife and my family and a lot of great players. So I've been very fortunate, very blessed to coach some of the great guys in West Virginia.
Coach, off to a 4-2 start, but you got a tough schedule coming up. You got Cabell Midland tomorrow, then you have Huntington, St. Albans, and then Capital. Tell me a little bit about your upcoming schedule. What do you take away from the first 6 games, and how big of a task is it ahead of these next 4?
Oh, I think it's really big. It's huge from the standpoint you're playing some of the best teams in the state, and but that's pretty typical when you play a good schedule. So we're used to that part of it. Just from our team standpoint, just kind of some moving parts still. We're playing some young kids. We're playing some kids that haven't played a lot of varsity yet. Some typical things. We've had some injuries. Like we seem like we're getting going and something happens. But everybody faces that. That's not anything new to us in particular or anybody else or unique to us. So it's going to be a team that I think we're going to struggle at times. It's going to take a while to kind of get everybody going. But our goal really is obviously win every game. But I think we're probably not going to be playing our best basketball till maybe early February, mid-February, even maybe possibly that late. I just think we have a lot of ways to improve, but I think there's some talent there. And I think we'd be a pretty good basketball team. It just may take a little longer than some of the teams we've had in the past.
Well, Coach, something that's always impressed me about your teams, and they've been consistently good over the years, and this is probably something you don't even think of, or maybe you do, I don't know, but your home gymnasium is a small one. You're kind of compact. It's one of the smallest regulation courts for high school basketball, yet you're still able to play just as effectively, if not even better, on the bigger floors. And I know some people may not understand that there are different dimensions, not height of the basket, not distance between free throws or three-point lines, but different dimensions to different floors. And your team's able to be good on both. And I think sometimes schools may not appreciate how difficult that can be.
Well, I appreciate that. It really pretty much the style we've had to play through the years. We're playing – we'll run some, but we don't press a lot because of the people we have to beat to get to the state tournament. We just really can't press them. They're better at that than we would be. So really what happens on the dimensions, we're playing pretty much, 5 feet off the arc no matter where we're playing. So I think our styles helped us adapt. And, again, I mentioned it earlier, our kids are just they're always really coachable, and they play hard, and we've just had some really, really talented kids. And when you have good kids and they're talented, they make those adjustments on their own from that standpoint. So, but I do think our style of play historically helps us with no matter where we're playing, because we're playing just mainly on a certain part of the floor from that standpoint.
Well, Coach, again, never can say enough about a win over a team like Hedgesville. You got that one last Saturday. I know you had the tough loss to Winfield, but I then followed that up with a nice win over Nitro, and wish you the best of luck tomorrow against Cabell Midland.
Okay, thanks, guys. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
All right, that's Rick Green, head coach of the George Washington Patriots. We appreciate him taking time out of his Friday night to join us tonight as well. We're going to step aside, take a break. When we come back, hey, we've only got an hour left. We'll have a scoreboard update as Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia rolls on here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them, visit us at basketballnight.com. We want to thank our many affiliates tonight, and there's a lot of places that you can listen to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. But if your local station doesn't carry it, let them know. They can carry Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. We make it available to every radio station throughout the Mountain State. A big thank you to 91.9 FM, WPHP in Wheeling, 97.9 FM, WSPWLP in Parkersburg. Also, 106.7 FM, WHFI Linside, 101.9 FM, WVOW Logan, 90.7 FM, WFGH Fort Gay, 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM, WQAZLP, Edmond, Beckley, 101.7 FM, WYAPLP, Clay, 88.1 FM, WMUL, Huntington. If you have cable, you can check us out on Armstrong Cable, Digital Channel 204, Comcast, Channel 25. Online, you can listen to the audio or watch the video by going to basketballnight.com. You can also watch the video at rsnsports.com. We'd like for you to join us on Twitter. Become a Twitter follower at @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. Send in your scores, give us a tweet, and become part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family. @hoops_roundup.
This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, heard statewide on great radio stations. Visit basketballnight.com to find the station nearest you. Get all the scores, all the time at basketballnight.com or on Twitter @hoops_roundup. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with James Collier, Rick Marone, Rudy Raines, and Ryan Epling.
As we pass the 11 o'clock hour on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, I am Ryan Epling along with James Collier, Rick Marone, and we've also got our resident referee, Bo Anderson, with us. We'll have some more questions for him in just a few moments. I'll tell you what, guys, before we get the scoreboard update, though, this is an exciting night of basketball. We talked about the rivalries, but so many of these games, and we see the pictures that are tweeted, and you see full gymnasiums, whereas when you turn on a college game these days, you don't see anybody at the game.
Swiss cheese is the name that I like to play with a lot of college venues anymore. But yeah, it's back-to-back nights. I saw a picture come out of the Westside Wyoming East girls last night, boys tonight, and like I said, it's probably, when you put those two venues together, it's the most highly attended JV game in the state, just because everybody wants to get in to get a seat for the varsity game, because by the time halftime arrives for JV, it's standing room only.
Well, I can tell you, having been a JV player, that those are exciting even for you, because it's like the second half of your game. When you're playing, we used to play Williamson, which was always a big game. Huntington Vinson was a big game. The gym was packed and they were filling in, and you kind of felt big time, even though you were playing the JV, those last two quarters, the crowd started getting into it, and it was like a pregame chance for everybody to kind of get their fandom going, if you will, and it carried over into the varsity games.
And those are always a lot of fun. And I remember even though the games weren't competitive, unfortunately, when I was in high school, second half of those JV games with Tulsa, especially. They were a lot of fun. Students would start to get on to you a little bit, and you're like, you don't know me. I'm of no importance to you whatsoever. But still, it was always a lot of fun. And actually, I did say that to one person who went, yeah, you're right. And that was kind of the end of it. But
talk about taking the air out of a room.
Yeah, exactly. That was my goal, and I accomplished it right there. And, we just had a lot of fun, though. And what I remember best about those rivalries, and we hope to get Bree Pertee back here in just a moment. We had her on hold, and we just lost her. We hope to get her back here from Wyoming East. I just remember that there was a lot of respect. I mean, I played against Jason Hatfield, who went on to be a coach with Tulsa, and it was a rivalry. Even though when I was in school, the games weren't competitive, but man, we tried our best. We tried to win, but we still respected who we played, and it was like playing against people you grew up with.
Well, I encourage people, and you may say, well, I don't really have a team to follow, or I tell you, tonight it was blanketed across the state. If you get an opportunity to go out, you may not have a dog in the fight, as they say. If you can go to a Tug Valley Greater Beckley game, you go to Wyoming East Westside, if you love high school basketball and you kind of yearn for those days when people are playing the sport, for the love of the sport and the communities there, there's no feeling like it. It's great if you have a team of your own that you're on board with, but if not, adopt one. Go to a game. We have people that are guests on our show every week, and we're jealous of them because a lot of our contributors are people that travel and get to see great games and great environments. They have no stake in the fight, but to Ryan, you can just tell by the kind of the spring in their step when they share with us. It's an awesome experience. We've got it in West Virginia. I hope we never lose that, and it's still alive and well across the state.
Yeah, sometimes people will think that it's all about D1 recruits. Mind you, West Virginia does pretty well per capita in that regard, but it's all about communities here, and that's what we have a good time celebrating. And let's celebrate some scores. Coach Marone, look at the basketballnight.com scoreboard.
Looking for scores? You can look no more at basketballnight.com scoreboard update. Even with a referee at your side, you can still listen to the scores that have all come in and are all final. First, we're going to go with the ladies first. We're going girls basketball, and we're going South Charleston. The Black Eagles get a 53-42 win over Capital. Also, Parkersburg South, 80. John Marshall, 34. The Huntington Highlanders, ranked number 3 in the coaches poll, defeat Ripley 74-48. Spring Valley Timberwolves gets a 58-30 win over Woodrow Wilson tonight. Bo Miller and his crew with the big win. Parkersburg 62, St. Albans 50. That's an upset. Parkersburg defeats the number 8 ranked St. Albans Red Dragons. Also in AAA, Cabell Midland in overtime defeats Princeton 56-54. In girls basketball as well, George Washington 60, Nitro 32, Greenbrier East 72, Fayetteville 27, Robert C. Byrd, the Eagles 61, Lewis County 53. Winfield gets an 86-32 win over Riverside. Continuing in girls basketball class AA, Fairmont Senior, number 1 in the AP poll. They solidify that tonight with a 67-38 win over Elkins. Number 2 ranked North Marion, 87, Philip Barber 46. Summers County, the Lady Bobcats 77-65 over James Monroe to steal James Collier's line. Justice was served as Brittany and Whitney Justice lead the Lady Bobcats with a total of 54 points between them. Sissonville Indians 66-32 winners over Scott. Kaiser 72, Northern Garrett 33. Clay County gets a 58-32 win over Roane County. Mackenzie Barker pours in 26 points tonight for Clay County. Lincoln 59, East Fairmont 39. Mountain Ridge, the Miners from Frostburg, Maryland 53. The Frankfort Falcons 47. Class A girls basketball, Tucker County Mountain Lions 59, Notre Dame 31. The Pocahontas Lady Warriors 77-22 winners over Moorfield. Gilmer County, the Lady Titans fall to Webster County, an upset as Webster County wins 67-63. The Doddridge County Bulldogs 51-27 winners over South Harrison. East Hardy 54, Tigers Valley 42. In girls basketball, Tug Valley gets a 50-39 win over Greater Beckley Christian. The 100 Hornets are nickname of the night, premier nickname of the night. You love the 100 Hornets. They get a 53-46 win over the West Green Pioneers of Waynesburg. Pennsylvania. Hancock Panthers out of Maryland, 34-23 winner over Ryan's Paw Paw Pirates. In girls basketball, St. Mary's, the Blue Devils, 70-54 winners over Tyler Consolidated. We're going to turn the page to the guys in boys basketball AAA. Wheeling Park, 70-63 winners over Brook. That game went to overtime. Buchanan Upshur, the Buccaneers, 66-43 winners over Liberty Harrison. 57-47, Martinsburg knocks off Hedgesville. Big rivalry game there. University, 69-33 victory over John Marshall. 58-57, Rich Skeens and the Sissonville Indians get a win over Lincoln County. 60-53, the Applemen of Musselman over Washington High School. Class AA, number 1 Poca. A tussle, very close at the half, 14-12. That's right, 14-12 at the half. Poca pulls away to get a 43-33 win over Chapmanville Regional High School. West Side, big win, 70-53 over Wyoming East, the Battle of Wyoming County. Robert C. Byrd, 63-34 over the Lewis County Minutemen. Mingo Central pulls an upset. They go into Madison, into the garage, and they roll the car out and get a 54-48 win over the Scott Skyhawks. Frankfort, the Falcons, fly to a 73-72 overtime win over Berkeley Springs. Kaiser, the Golden Tornadoes, whirl their way through Petersburg with a 61-45 win. Mount View Golden Knights, 73. Van, 48. Ritchie Rebels, 48-47 winners over Wirt County. That's their first win of the season. Congratulations to Ritchie County. Wayne takes overtime, but they continue their streak over the Tulsa Rebels, 4 in a row against their cross-county rivals, 51-48. Class A boys, Wheeling Central, 46-29 over Lindsley. Magnolia, 75-55 over Payton City. Those schools, that is a backyard brawl. 5.7 miles on Route 2, and Payton City, a back-to-back night tonight. Just not enough gas to take down the Blue Eagles. Tug Valley, a huge win over Greater Beckley, 50-47 over the third-ranked Crusaders. Notre Dame Irish, 43, Tucker County, 34. That's at the end of 3, still waiting on a final on that one. Class A boys, Charleston Catholic, 60-49 over Buffalo. Valley, Fayette, the Greyhounds roll on. They defeat Greenbrier West, 79-51. Valley Wetzel, the Lumberjacks, get chopped down by Clay Battelle, 70-60. The Seabees get the win. The Richwood Grizzlies get a 9-point win over Fayetteville. The Pirates are forced to walk the plank in that one. Madonna, 69-54 over Toronto of Ohio. Meadow Bridge, big rivalry game. They couldn't get it done. Midland Trail knocks them off 62-58. Moorfield, the Yellow Jackets, defeat Pocahontas County 73-63. Williamstown, 69-40 winners over Parkersburg Catholic. And Hancock, Maryland Panthers, 70. Paw Paw Pirates, Ryan. It's our last score. I know that hit you right where you live. 70-45 victory for the Panthers. That's your basketballnight.com scoreboard update.
My beloved Paw Paw Pirates falling tonight, both in boys and girls basketball. That's my adopted team. Definitely, I love small school basketball. But tonight on the boys' side, West Side, a big win over Wyoming East. Last night, though, it was a different story on the girls' side of things. Wyoming East beat the reigning state champion Westside Renegades 87-39. A big part of that was Bree Pertee of the Wyoming East Warriors. She joins us now. And Bree, congratulations on that win last night and off to a 9-0 start.
Thank you.
Bree, also something else, picking up that 9th win last night, but your 7th point in the contest, point number 1,000 in your career as a senior there at Wyoming East. How fulfilling is it to know that you cracked the 1,000th point milestone in your career there?
It's a great feeling, especially against Westside at a home crowd. I'm very thankful for my team, my coaches. I couldn't have done it without them, but it's just a very humbling experience just to get that and see everybody stand up and clap, and it was a great feeling.
In your senior season, obviously you've had several different routes to run through, but you have a freshman phenom and one Gabby Lapardis who was actually being called out by the West Side crowd tonight, wanting some help in the boys' game. But last night she was 2 steals and 4 assists away from a quadruple double. Tell me about what she brings to this team and how much that helps you to be able to push this team to where you want to go, and that's ultimately to the state tournament after a championship.
Gabby is a stellar player all the way around, defense, offense. She doesn't care who scores, and I think the biggest thing she brings to our team is some leadership, some point guard leadership. She knows what she's doing, and we trust her to do what she does best, which is be Gabby.
Hey, Bree, Coach Marone here, and again, thanks for coming on the show. And I'd be interested to get your perspective. You being a senior, a leader on this ball club, you've kind of seen both ends of the spectrum here. Wyoming East has really been a program that you've got a proud tradition there. I can tell you, having coached for a long time, there was a period of time where the Lady Warriors were a regular participant in the state tournament. The last few years, it had kind of shifted to West Side, Summers County, and Pikeview. How exciting is it for you to come through the program and maybe kind of been on the other end of it, and now you're getting to enjoy, the reward for your hard work and have your eyes on the big prize?
It makes it that much better to know that we struggled and we pushed through, and we're here now, and we're here to stay, and we're making big statements, and it's just a great feeling. And we're all a big family right now, and 9-0, trying to keep that record clean.
Well, Bree, you obviously get a lot of support there, and we talked about the big crowd tonight at Westside. There was a big crowd last night for Wyoming East. You're developing a large following at the high school for your girls basketball team as well. What does that mean to look up in the crowd and see so many people there to support you?
I think it makes us play harder. It's like you want to make them proud because they're out there to watch you, and it just makes me go that much harder. Like, they're there to watch us, and that's never happened before in my career. And it's just an amazing experience to see that and see all our fans. We have a cheering section this year, and it's a great feeling.
Bree, kind of going back to Coach Marone's question, you being the senior, starting off, as you said, trying to keep that record unblemished, how important is it for you to take that leadership role and work these young players into this situation of don't look ahead, every night out it's time to go become 1-0, and then add that to the record at the end of the night?
Yeah, we can never overlook anyone, and I think that we go over that every day in practice. We practice for the game we're getting ready to play. We never look ahead. We have a lot of young girls, and sometimes, they're young. They're ready to go out there and just play, which I think is a good thing, but I think we just got to keep battling. We can never look over anyone, and it's going to be a tough schedule coming up, so just got to take it as it is.
Well, the Wyoming East Warriors off to a 9-0 start on the girls' side of things, and again, we talked with Gabby Lapardis last week. This week, Bree Pertee. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on joining the 1,000-point club, and wish you the best of luck the remainder of the season.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, that's Wyoming East Bree Pertee. Thanks again for joining us. Right now, we have to step aside and take a break. When we come back, we'll have Matt Morrison. He's the boys' head coach at Charleston Catholic. He's got big shoes to fill there, and he's doing a good job as well. And there's more than one Bo associated with Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Can we call him the other Bo?
No, don't call him anything.
I don't know about that. He might hang up on us.
I'm the oldest of the two.
There you go. We'll hear from Bo Miller, the head coach at Spring Valley's girls, when we come back here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Last week, we asked you to vote on the Basketball Friday Night poll question. What is the better usage of the holiday break? 54% of you agreed to learn on the fly by playing in tournaments. Well, you've got till 11:45 tonight to vote in this week's poll. Is the competition in Class AA boys this season better than Class AAA? Vote yes or no online at basketballnight.com. Go to basketballnight.com and you'll find this week's poll on the right-hand side of the page. We'll share the results of voting tonight at the end of the show. Check it out and vote in this week's poll. You've got till 11:45. Visit basketballnight.com. We want to thank everyone for following us on Twitter, too. Our goal, 1,200 followers. Right now, we're at 1149. Follow us on Twitter and give us your scores. Send us a tweet. Become part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family. @hoops_roundup. @hoops_roundup. A shout out to some of the folks tweeting us tonight. Donald Butcher, Dave Gorby, WCEF 98.3 The Bull, Moorfield basketball, Coach Tim, the Martinsburg Bulldogs, the Tug Valley High School Panthers, Mountain State Prep Hoops, Jack Withrow, David Gorby, Matt Welch, Big Red Athletics. We appreciate you being part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family. Give us a call toll free, 1-855-345-4709, 855-345-4709. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
This is high school basketball's home for the Mountain State. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to Basketball Night in West Virginia with James Collier, Coach Rick Marone, and Ryan Epling.
It's 11:18 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia as we roll on here. Ryan Epling, Rick Marone, James Collier with you. We've also got our resident referee, Bo Anderson. Going back to the phones, the Charleston Catholic Irish boys are 6-2 on the season. Matt Morrison is the head coach. He's in his first year. And first off, Coach Morrison, pretty big shoes to fill there.
You could say that. First of all, I want to thank you guys for having me on. I really enjoy the show. But yeah, Coach McClanahan has the program at a level that we're all proud of at the school. And I've been with Coach McClanahan the past 9 years, and the amount of work and that he put in to building the program to where it is, it's very admirable.
One thing that I always notice about Coach McClanahan's teams were even the really good teams made improvements that were noticeable through the year. I know this is kind of a restart year for this ball club and for that program this year. Are you seeing that start now? You're about a month into the season.
Well, that's we always took great pride in getting better throughout the year and to get our team playing its best basketball at the end of February, and that's certainly our hope this year. We are starting from a different level than years past, and I did start to see quite a bit of improvement early on this season. Tonight's effort wasn't where we wanted it to be, but we found a way to get the win this evening. But we still have a long way to go.
Coach Morrison, you talk about the time that you spent under Coach McClanahan, 9 years with him before he retires. How much did that help you, one, of taking over the helm of such a tradition that is there at Charleston Catholic, and the transition of the players know what to expect from you, and it's just kind of the change of the guard when you take over?
Yeah, I mean, I learned a tremendous amount from Coach McClanahan. I've been with him for a long time, and seen how he handled the program from a day-to-day perspective, how he got his teams ready to go. So I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. What he's done has obviously been very successful. I'm trying to put my personality on the program. We are doing some different things, but for the most part, we're trying to, I'm just trying to get maintain the level of success that he's had over the years. I know these kids intimately. I've been. That's the one thing I can say about Coach McClanahan. He gave me the opportunity to, run the JV program basically by myself, and he gave me the autonomy to work with those kids. So now those kids that I had in the JV program are now with me at the varsity level, and so we know each other, and we're trying to improve every day.
Now, mind you, this is a team that's 6-2 and has won 4 straight. So, I mean, we're kind of talking, kind of resetting things here. New coach in his first year, and you're still winning, though.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. That's the other thing is, and I told the kids early on that, that's what we've been told, that we're supposed to restart, and this is supposed to be a down year. I told the kids we're not going to drop our standards. We're going to maintain the standard high, and we're going to try to do our best to reach that. I've got 5 seniors, but none of those guys have had extensive varsity experience. the only kid that on the squad who's had extensive varsity experience is our junior Hayden McCarty, who had the opportunity to play a good amount in the state tournament last year and in the state championship game. So I got a group of young, hungry men that are has patiently waited for their opportunity.
Coach, how much do you take away with that group of players that had the opportunity to play in that state title game last year, and how much does that help you coming back in your first year, kind of set the way that this is the direction this team wants to continue, and you build off of that relationship of the guys that were there last season?
You have to. We have to do that, and like I said, there's two guys that got good amount of state tournament experience last year, and that's senior Roger Burdett, who played behind Garrett McCarty last year, and also again Hayden McCarty, Garrett's younger brother, who's a junior this year. I lean on those guys a lot because they know what it takes. They've been there, and I'm just trying. They're trying to bring these other guys along, and hopefully by the end of February, we're at a level that we can compete in the postseason.
Big week ahead with a game at home with Braxton County coming up on Monday, then Tuesday a trip to Greater Beckley Christian.
Yeah, so we got a busy week next week. Not only that, we end the week on a Friday, a 2-hour drive down to Greenbrier West. So we have a quite the week next week. Got a home game on Monday, and then turn around and play Greater Beckley, which I understand went down this evening. So I'm sure they're going to be refocused and ready to go. Our guys, we got to take this day by day. We're going to get back at practice tomorrow and try to clean up some things that we didn't do so well tonight, and hopefully have a better week next week.
Well, Charleston Catholic, a 60-49 home win over Buffalo tonight. Coach Matt Morrison, thanks for joining us.
I appreciate the time.
All right, that's Matt Morrison, head coach of the Charleston Catholic boys team, going right back on to the phone lines. We'll hear from Rick Kozlowski in just a moment. But right now we're going to go to Bo Miller, head coach of the Spring Valley Timberwolves girls team. And Coach Miller, we've got you and Bo Anderson on at the same time. That's a lot of Bo.
That's a lot of Bo. Maybe too much.
Coach, how you doing this evening?
We're just on our way back from, we played down at Beckley tonight, and one of the officials, you all had Bo on there, so one of the officials wanted me to tell Coach Morone hello. Dillard Tate called our game tonight, Rick.
Hey, good friend of mine. That's the one referee that I'm friends with, Dillard Tate out of Wyoming County. So give him my best.
He wanted me to give you his best.
Well, as long as he doesn't throw a shirt at me and get a whistle out like what I've been taking here in the studio, I'm okay with it. Tell you what, Bo, you guys, you went on the road. That's a lengthy trip for you down to Woodrow. You get a win, 50-38, and I'll tell you what, you guys have had an eventful period here through the holidays and then here to the first of the year. How's the team responding as you're kind of getting into conference play and things kind of get a little more of a routine? I know you traveled to Tennessee and saw some really good competition there, but after coming through that and then getting back into the MSAC, is the team kind of settling in? I know you're getting Maddie Morris back as well.
I think the more games we get to play, the better Maddie Morris is going to be. She looked like she was moving a lot better tonight than she was just down in Tennessee a week ago. So the more games we get, the better she'll be and the better we'll be.
Coach, how much do you take away from what your team did down in Tennessee? 2-2, one big game that you came away with a close win. And what do you take out of playing 4 games out of 5 days that tied together to that early in the season?
Well, that's what we went down there for. We tried to play, like more of a state tournament type deal, the 3 games in 4 days up there against really good competition down there. And the teams down in Tennessee were all pretty good. So I hope it prepares us for the end of the year.
Well, your week coming up is one of interest, at least, to say. Tuesday night at Huntington, Thursday night at Logan. Those are 2 pretty good teams.
Well, I didn't plan it that way. The board made the call to cancel school the other day because it was cold. So,
well, I know that
cancel our game because it was cold out.
Well, I know that the Huntington student section was definitely saying that they're hoping for 32 degrees or above so that this game can play this coming week.
I hope so, because I didn't know we was playing out in the valley, outside court. So.
Yeah, those are some. I'll tell you, the outdoor courts there are really rough there on Spring Valley Drive. Now there's some really good games there, but I don't think it's a high school regulation game could be played there.
No.
Tell you what, Bo.
It'll be a tough week for us this week.
Yeah, we talked about your schedule out of conference, and when you look down your schedule, obviously Logan's a sectional opponent, not a conference opponent, but they're one of the top-ranked AAA teams. Of course, Huntington is a conference opponent, but as you look down your schedule, you picked up Ashland, who's one of the premier teams in the area, a Sweet 16 participant, Division I talent on that team, and you go to Ashland. So I tell you what, over the next couple of weeks, I think you're really going to find out where your team's at. That doesn't even mention the South Charlestons, the other trip with Huntington. I mean, your schedule is just packed from start to finish, and do you feel like that will help you to be battle-tested when you get into sectional play?
Well, I hope it does. At least we'll know where we stand after this week going into the section. At least we'll have a better understanding where we are and what we need to work on, how much better we need to be.
Well, Coach Miller, always a pleasure to talk with you, and hopefully it gets a little bit warmer. But the Timberwolves 6-2, and again, those 2 losses were down in Tennessee to some pretty good ball clubs down there. And again, big week coming up for you guys. Wish you guys the best of luck.
Well, thank you, sir.
All right, that's Bo Miller, head coach of the Spring Valley Timberwolves girls team. And I'm a very forgettable person. I bet Bo doesn't even know that, hasn't associated the fact that he and I talk every time I see him and then this show. Almost guarantee you he does not associate those two whatsoever, because he always treats me like he's never heard of, or like I'm a stranger to him.
He's one of the only few that calls you sir.
That's true. That's why I said that. That's why I said that, because anybody who knows me is not calling me sir.
Me either, so.
No chance of that. No. Well, you guys have known me since I was a little fella anyway. But anyway, we're going to step aside, take a break. When we come back, we'll have a scoreboard update, and Rick Kozlowski was at the big Eastern Panhandle rivalry matchup tonight between Hedgesville and Martinsburg. He's from the Martinsburg Journal. We'll hear from the Wizard of Cos. That's when Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia continues on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Congratulations to Jadarian Wade. Jadarian was selected as the Basketball Friday Night Standout Athlete of the Week this week. If you'd like to nominate someone, go to our website, and you can find it at Standout Athlete of the Week. Each week, we consider nominees based on leadership, performance on the court, academic performance, involvement in the community, and volunteer work. Every Friday night, we select a Standout Athlete of the Week. Check it out. Go to basketballnight.com and look for the Standout Athlete of the Week tab. A lot of people to thank tonight. All the people on Twitter, texting, emailing, sending the scores tonight. We really appreciate that. Shout out to new followers also. Rodney Miller, new follower tonight. Jeff Keisner, Eli Bone, Amy Greer Knowles, Scott Leonhardt, Adams 114, Josh McLeod, Kelsey, Jessica, Ricky, Bree Pertee, Noah Sparks, Marilyn Monroe, Pablo, Robin Edwards, Joe Wallace, Athlete Motivation, Trapper, Curtis Edward, Ann Lineker, Ferrari Mom, and Moorfield Basketball. We appreciate all the new followers on Twitter. Follow us at hoops_roundup, at hoops_roundup. We're up to 1,152. Our goal is to break 1,200. Lots of ways you can connect with us. Call us toll free, 855-345-4709. 855-345-4709. Twitter, at hoops_roundup. Email scores@basketballnight.com.
Celebrating high school basketball around the Mountain State, you're listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, James Collier, Coach Rick Marone, and Ryan Epling.
11:32 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Happy to have you along with us. We've got a couple of callers that we've got to get to, but we've got to do a scoreboard update, guys. It's 11:32, as I mentioned, and we'll turn this one over to James Collier for a check of the basketballnight.com scoreboard. Take a deep breath and go, buddy.
Looking for scores? Look no more. Go to basketballnight.com/scoreboard for all of your scores from around the Mountain State. We'll start first with the ladies. All of these scores are finals. Class AAA number 2 South Charleston escapes an upset bid by the Capital Cougars, 53-42. Number 3 Park South, no trouble with John Marshall, 80-34. Number 4 Huntington over Ripley, 74-48. It was number 6 Spring Valley picking up a win over Woodrow Wilson out of Beckley, 58-30. Your final. An upset as Parkersburg, 2 wins in a row now over ranked teams, knock off number 9 St. Albans, 62-50, the final for the Big Reds. In overtime, Cabell Midland goes to Princeton and gets the win, 56-54. George Washington Patriots 60, Nitro 32. Greenbrier East, no problem with Fayetteville, 72-27. The Robert C. Byrd Eagles take care of the Lewis County Minutemen, 61-53. Winfield over the Riverside Warriors, 86-32. Class AA number 1 Fairmont Senior, the Polar Bears put the freeze on the Elkins Tigers, 67-38. North Marion over Philip Barber, 87-46. Justice is served once again. Whitney Justice collect 54 of the 77 points as number 4 Summers County gets past James Monroe, 77-65. Number 5 Sissonville over the Scott Skyhawks, 66-32. Number 6 Kaiser, the Tornadoes blow away the Northern Garrett Huskies out of Maryland, 72-33. Mackenzie Barker leads Clay County, number 9 in Class AA, over the Roane County Raiders, 58-32, victorious for the Panthers. Bridgeport Grafton tonight was postponed. Lincoln over East Fairmont, 59-39. It was the Frankfort Falcons over Mountain Ridge, or falling to Mountain Ridge, 53-47. Class Single A, number 3 Tucker County over number 9 Notre Dame, 59-31. Number 5 Pocahontas County, 77. Moorfield, 22. An upset, unranked Webster County over number 8 Gilmer County, 67-63. Doddridge County a win over South Harrison, 51-27. East Hardy over Tigers Valley, 54-42. Tug Valley over Greater Beckley Christian, 50-39. It was the 100 Hornets over West Green out of Pennsylvania, 53-46. Hancock takes down the Paw Paw Pirates, 34-23. St. Mary's over Tyler Consolidated, 70-54. And Union over Highland County, Virginia, 56-26. Over on the boys' side, we'll start first in Class AAA, as it was number 7 Willing Park in overtime over Brook, 70-63. Buchanan Upshur over Liberty Harrison, 66-43. Martinsburg by 10 over Hedgesville, 57-47. University knocks off John Marshall, 69-33. Sissonville by 1 over Lincoln County, 58-57. Musselman, 7-point win over the Washington Patriots, 60-53. Class AA, a game that was 14-12 at the half in favor of Chapmanville over number 1 Poca. Turns out for a 10-point win by the Dots, 43-33. Number 4 West Side over Wyoming East, 70-53. Number 6 Robert C. Byrd takes out Lewis County, 63-34. An upset in Class AA as number 7 Mingo Central goes into the garage in Scott and leaves with a 54-48 victory. Overtime in Berkeley Springs as the Falcons fly away with a 1-point win over the Indians, 73-72. Frankfort over Berkeley Springs. Kaiser knocks off Petersburg, 61-45. Mount View over the Van Bulldogs, 73-48. Ritchie County, first win of the season, and gets it by 1 over the Wirt County Tigers, 48-47. Overtime in the battle for Wayne County. Wayne over the Tulsa Rebels, 51-48. Class Single A, number 1 Wheeling Central takes an 18-0 first quarter to a 46-29 win over the Lindsay Cadets. Number 2 Magnolia over Payton City, 75-55. Tug Valley with an upset over number 3 Greater Beckley Christian, 50-47. Still looking for a final for Tucker County Notre Dame. We'll pass that along as soon as we have it. Number 6, Charleston Catholic over Buffalo, 60-49. Valley Fayette, number 8 in Class Single A, defeats Greenbrier West, 79-51. Clay Battelle by 10 over Valley Wetzel, 70-60. Richwood over Fayetteville, 66-57. Madonna knocks off Toronto out of Ohio, 69-54. Midland Trail by 4 over Meadow Bridge, 62-58. A 10-point win for the Yellow Jackets of Moorfield over Pocahontas County, 73-63. Williamstown defeats the Crusaders of Park Catholic, 69-40. Our final score, Hancock over Pawpaw, 70-45. That's checkyourbasketball.com scoreboard update.
Thank you very much, James. One of those scores, Martinsburg beating Hedgesville 57-47. Big game there in the Eastern Panhandle as always. Rick Kozlowski of the Martinsburg Journal was there. Rick, nice win for Martinsburg.
Well, wait a minute. First off, what happened to my bumper music?
Well, you've been gone for so long. We didn't know if maybe you got swooped away in the Wizard of Cause.
But don't you remember last week some artist from somewhere tweeted, she's going to give me bumper music?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yes, there was.
Yes. And we thought you were going to send that to us.
We will work on that.
Well,
we'll have to contact her directly and get that music.
Well, I guess it's my fault.
Well, first thing we'll have to make sure Cause is make sure that that's FCC approved.
But I will say this though, the last call with all the bows, in honor of that, I put on a bow tie.
Now be careful, I can give you a technical as well.
But I didn't put a bow in my hair,
It's going downhill.
Yes. Let's turn this around here, Rick. Again, nice win tonight for Martinsburg, and that's always a big rivalry with Martinsburg and Hedgesville. We talked about the Wyoming County rivalry. That's the Eastern Panhandle. Right now, one of the premier rivalries. Of course, Jefferson is right in the midst of things right now, too.
Yeah, it didn't have the same kind of vibe, though, tonight going into the game that it normally has. I talked with Gerald Jones of Martinsburg, who pretty much led Martinsburg from behind a 13-point deficit. He finished with 26. He's unquestionably one of the top players in the state as a junior. He said that talk on the street is people thought it was going to be a blowout one way or the other, and they weren't going to pay money to come see it. And so the crowd was a little bit subdued tonight. But the game turned out to be an excellent game. Like I said, Hedgesville had a 13-point lead midway second quarter, and then Jones scored 11 points in a row, and Hedgesville was held scoreless for 6 minutes between second and third periods, and Martinsburg finally took a lead in the third quarter, briefly tied. Bulldogs went ahead and kind of, I guess in some sense, winning by 10 did achieve that, quote, blowout that people thought might happen. But I don't know. I still look at these teams around here on the Eastern Panhandle, and it's still like they're trying to figure out what they have. Tonight, for instance, Martinsburg played without his point guard, Josiah Villa. Jones had to play point guard, and he handled himself pretty well. I talked to Daniel Delaware, the player who would be Hedgesville's star had he not broken his leg a week before the season, and he's still on crutches but no cast. And I said, you're going to be back, or what do you think? And he's like, I don't know. He said, I'm working on it. He says, rehab 3 days a week, and but looking at him still on crutches, you just wonder, how much, if he's going to get back, and certainly if he's back and healthy, Hedgesville's a vastly different team as well. But I think around here though, and I said this last week, I think teams are still trying to find themselves.
Definitely looking forward to getting deeper and deeper into the season, and that's how teams start to sort of separate themselves. Jefferson's only 2 losses are to out-of-state teams at this point, and really that win over Westside was good. Go ahead.
Actually, 3 losses for Jefferson, all to out-of-state teams. All have quality out-of-state teams, and all have been close. And I look at them, and they have Jaleel Jenkins and Jalen Smith, and they played in a tournament or a showcase kind of thing last weekend at St. Maria Goretti up in Hagerstown, Maryland. And Smith kind of caught the attention of the Naval Academy. He's gotten lots of D2 offers, but kind of the first D1 kind of offer came in for him. And I look at that team, and both those guys are pretty much capable of scoring 20 points a night. And I see them, and they're still trying to develop, kind of come to the chemistry around those two guys. A lot of basketball ahead.
Looking forward to it, Rick. We always enjoy talking with you, and look forward to doing it again next week.
Well, so you're saying goodbye to me, right?
I've got to say goodbye.
Where's that bumper music?
Hey, again, our staff will be on.
Or how about the just bumping me off music?
You know,
my little Godfather background
yeah,
music.
just
He's getting bumped off.
Yeah. All right, hey Rick, always a pleasure.
See, I do my own bumper music.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Always a pleasure. That's Rick Kozlowski, the Martinsburg Journal, one of our favorite callers. We're going to stay here, though, and we're going to right to Luke Frampton, Polka sophomore standout. And Polka gets the win tonight, a hard-fought win over Chapmanville Regional, 43-33. Luke, welcome to the program.
Hey, how are you guys?
Hey, we're doing great, and thanks for holding on there with us and lasting through Rick Kozlowski with us as well.
That's a unique experience in itself, Luke.
We don't know where he's going either.
Yeah.
But, Luke, I want to talk about that game tonight first. Chapmanville had a 14-12 lead at halftime. They came out with a plan to kind of hold the ball, play slow and deliberate. And while they led at halftime, your team able to go on a run there in the beginning of the fourth quarter and pull away and get the win.
Yeah, Coach Osborne at halftime, he was just telling us that we had to play better defense and lock in on Butcher and Williamson. That Williamson, the freshman kid, man, he's going to be something special. He's really good. I think he had 19 tonight or something like that.
And
he had most of their points, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm just 19 points against an Alan Osborne coach defense is a pretty good night for a visiting player there at Polka as well against you guys, because you guys have been really a dominant type team this year. And I know you don't want to look too far ahead because teams that are successful as you guys have been over an extended period of time as a program basically only look to one game at a time. But there's some talk that your team might be the best team in the state regardless of classification. That adding or any pressure come along with that, or are you guys just trying to do your own thing?
I don't think it adds any pressure. We just take it one day at a time, try to get better every day at practice, work hard, work as a team, and get ready to play our next team, whoever we're going to play. Just get the scouting report and see what we need to do and try to get the win.
Well, I got to say, one of the most popular vines that went out on Twitter in the Mountain State over the past week. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about right now. We've actually got it, the video of it coming up here on our website, and hopefully our guys will back and get the audio down a little bit because there's a big dunk about to come up right there. As that was posted by Derek Regal, though, and we appreciate them getting us the video. And one-handed dunk. Tell me what you saw. I know you saw an open lane to the hoop there, and from our view, we can't see your eyes. I know your eyes had to get real big, though.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know I was going to. I was just driving down the lane. I was going to lay it up, but then I was up there, so I was like, oh, I might as well try. Yeah,
that's a problem I never had. I never had that problem. I never got that point of view. I'm going to lay it in. Oh, while I'm here, I might as well dunk it.
Luke, out to a quick 7-0 start this season and a win tonight. You guys moved to 8-0. Go back earlier this season, wins over RCB and Hurricane. How big was that to get those quality wins early in the season? And as you said, you don't want to look ahead, but how much can you go back and look at those two wins and say this could be the foundation of building something special?
Those are just two good team wins. You know, we played as a team. Our defense was amazing against Bird. I think our highest scorer had like 16 points or something like that. But Hurricane is another great team. Were they like third in AAA or something like that? That's just a great team win to play them, and that makes us better. Games like that just really help us.
And Luke, you have a very unique opportunity that sometimes you'll make a pass on the court, and it's someone you know all too well because he has the same last name. That's your brother.
Yeah. It's a blessing to play with him, really, though. Just playing with him since Midget League, we've always had, like, a really good connection in the court. Like, tonight, I think I had, like, 2 no-look passes to him for shots. But, I mean, just playing with him is a really good, really big blessing. It's great. I love having my brother around.
Well, tonight, a game with limited opportunities, and it was Christian Buckley who ended up leading you guys in scoring tonight with 12 points, all of those in the second half. But just tell me about the balance of this ball club. You don't have to go score every night, and quite frankly, for somebody who just looks at a team sheet of stats and maybe doesn't see you play, it's hard to pick out who your best player is.
Yeah, that's what I love about this team. We're so evenly able to score. Like, if one person's not scoring one night, then somebody else is scoring. It's crazy how many scores we have.
Well, you guys definitely have a great ball club. And one last question before we let you go. I know you're in your sophomore year. Who have you heard from Division I?
Marshall's offered me, and I've took an unofficial visit to Virginia.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck in whatever options you get, and certainly seems as though you're going to get several options to choose from before all things are said and done. Luke Frampton, sophomore at Polka. Congratulations on the win tonight, and thanks for joining us on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Thank you.
All right, we definitely appreciate listening to him, and guys, you can tell how good that team is when just, like I said, you can't tell who the best player is. But anyway,
when you have like you said, you can spread the scoring night by night. You don't have to worry about it, and you see that a lot of the teams that we've been talking about that they're starting to separate themselves at the top of the level. And coach, when you go in and you have to scheme for a team that you don't know who's going to be able to slow down, that's something that makes it difficult, and that's what makes this team so good.
Well, the balance, if you get a chance to see this team, go out and see them. They're fun to watch no matter who you're rooting for. And I tell you what, we heard Coach Osborne on the show last week, and to please him and for him to enjoy this group says more about them than anything that anyone can say. I know Coach Osborne, he's one of the greatest coaches in West Virginia, and for him to say he enjoys working every day with this group, that says it all.
Yeah, because he's extremely humble, and he was proud of this group, you could tell. So right now we're going to step aside, take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up. Got one more question for Bo Anderson. We'll get that for him when we come back here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
A big thank you out there to all of our affiliates and everyone on Twitter who sent us scores tonight. We really appreciate you. Our affiliates tonight include 106.7 FM, WHFI in Linside, 91.9 FM, WPHB in Wheeling, 97.9 FM, WSPW LP in Parkersburg, 101.9 FM, WVOW in Logan, 90.7 FM, WFGH Fort Gay, 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM, WQAZ LP Edmond, Beckley, 101.7 FM, WYAP-LP Clay, 88.1 FM, WMUL Huntington. You can find us online at basketballnight.com, where you can click Listen Live to listen to our audio stream, or you can also watch our high-definition video right on the website. Also, streaming our video tonight, rsnsports.com. For cable viewers, we're on Armstrong Cable Digital Channel 204 and Comcast Channel 25. A big thank you to all the new followers today on Twitter. Our most recent, WVNS. Thanks for becoming part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family. A shout out to our new followers tonight: Amy Greer-Knowles, Eli Bone, Jeff Keisner, Rodney Miller, Scott Leonhardt, Adams 114, and Josh McLeod. Follow us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Coach Rick Marone, James Collier, and Ryan Epling.
11:53 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. We're running short on time. We've got a lot to do still before the midnight hour. Let's get a check of the Basketball Friday Night scoreboard. Basketballnight.com. James Collier is going to lead us off with the boys' scores.
We'll start in Class AAA. Number 7, Wheeling Park in overtime over the Brook Bruins, 70-63. Buchanan Upshur, 66. Lincoln Harrison, 43. Martinsburg, a 10-point win over Hedgesville, 57-47. University over John Marshall, 69-33. Lincoln County falls by 1 to Sissonville, 58-57. Musselman over Washington, 60-53. In Class AA, number 1 Polka over Chapmanville, 43-33. Number 4 West Side, no problem with Wyoming East, 70-53. Number 6 Robert C. Byrd defeats the Minutemen of Lewis County, 63-34. Number 7 Mingo Central defeats Scott at the Garage, 54-48. Frankfort, a 1-point win in overtime over Berkeley Springs, 73-72. Kaiser over Petersburg, 61-43. Mountain View over Van, 73-48. Ritchie County picks up its first win of the season with a 48-47 win over Wirt County. And Wayne, a 51-48 overtime win over the Tulsa Rebels. Number 1 in Class Single A, Wheeling Central over Lindsley, 46-29. Number 2 Magnolia, no problem with Payton City, 75-55. Tug Valley, an upset of number 3 Greater Beckley Christian, 50-47. Number 9 Notre Dame over number 5 Tucker County, 62-57. Number 6 Charleston Catholic over Buffalo, 60-49. Number 8 Valley Fayette, 79. Greenbrier West, 51. A 10-point win for the Seabees of Clay Battelle over Valley Wentzel, 70-60. Richwood over Fayetteville, 66-57. Madonna over Toronto, 69-54. Midland Trail, 62. Middlebridge, 58. Moorfield over Pocahontas County, 73-63. Williamstown defeats Parkersburg Catholic, 69-40. Your final boys score, Hancock over Paw Paw, 70-45. Coach Marone?
On the girls' side, South Charleston defeated Capital 53-42. John Marshall falls to Park South 80-34. The Lady Patriots get to win. Huntington High 74, Ripley 48. Spring Valley 58-30 over Woodrow Wilson. Parkersburg upsets St. Albans 62-50, and in overtime, Cabell Midland 56-54 winners over Princeton. George Washington over Nitro 60-32. Greenbrier East 72, Fayetteville 27, Robert C. Byrd 61, Lewis County 53. Winfield gets an 86-32 win over Riverside. Class AA, Fairmont Senior 67-38 winner over Elkins. 87-46 is the score. North Marion over Philip Barber. James Monroe falls to Summers County, 77-65. At Sissonville, 66. Scott, 32. Kaiser, 72-33 winners over Northern Garrett. Clay County rolls over Roane County, 58-32. Lincoln, the Cougars get a 59-39 win over East Fairmont. 53-47, Mountain Ridge over Frankfort. In Class A, Tucker County defeats Notre Dame, 59-31. Pocahontas beats Moorfield 77-22. Webster County upsets Gilmer County 67-63. South Harrison falls to Doddridge County 51-27. East Hardy over Tigers Valley 54-42. Tug Valley beats Greater Beckley 50-39. 53-46 over West Green, Pennsylvania. Hancock wins 34-23 over Paw Paw. St. Mary's defeats Tyler Consolidated 70-54. And our final score of the night, Union gets a 56-26 win over Highland County, Virginia. That's your basketballnight.com scoreboard.
Our basketballnight.com web poll: is the competition in Class AA boys this season better than in Class AAA? 50% of our voters said yes. 30% said too early to tell. Only 20% said no. That's a big number there in favor of yes. That's 80% that didn't say no. That's interesting. Kind of also shows who seems to listen to our program as well. And Braxton, you've got the poll question coming up for this upcoming week.
Right, and Bo Anderson actually made a really good point that Ohio allows games to be played on Sundays. So we're posing the question, should West Virginia allow games to be played on Sunday afternoons just in a rescheduling format? Not regular season games or regular season games, but not regularly scheduled games, just reschedule games to make it less stressful during the week to get those missed games made up.
basketballnight.com. You can ask or go there. You can get the poll question. It'll be up until 11:45 next Friday night.
One thing to pass along, Ryan, on basketballnight.com, the scoreboard, one of the things that we've been trying to do is update all the scores, making sure all the corrections, everything is correct. We want to give a shout-out to Don Mercer. He's Herbert Hoover's girls' assistant coach. He's been firing over a lot of corrections, a lot of missing scores that we've had. Please do that. You can go to the website, basketballnight.com, and pass that along. Also, real quick, congratulations to Boyd County out of Kentucky. Logan Fraley. She's headed to Marshall to play basketball after her senior year, became the school's all-time leading scorer tonight.
Yeah, that's right across the river from where we are. Bo Anderson, thanks for joining us tonight. I didn't get to ask you the last question, so I'll go ahead and say it for you, though. The length of courts allowed in high school basketball, 84 by 50, 94 by 50 is the regular, the big size floor, but 84 is the normal high school length.
That is correct. And I've enjoyed the night. I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll have a good week next week.
Absolutely. And always a pleasure to have everyone who is involved in this program. For the guys in the back, for James Collier, for Rick Marone, and for Bo Anderson. I'm Ryan Epling. Thanks for listening on this Rivalry Friday. We had a great time. We hope you did as well on this basketball Friday night in West Virginia. We'll be back next week, 9 to midnight, here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Thank you for listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Tune in next Friday for the latest high school basketball action from across the Mountain State. Visit our website at basketballnight.com to find out how you can stay connected with us throughout the week. Until next time, have a great weekend, and thank you for listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. The preceding broadcast is a presentation of the Fast Break Sports Network. Copyright 2014. All rights reserved.